and it will still envelop the rest, like a little area around it, like we would be here experiencing. And there also is that hotspot.
Right. I mean, it's true. You are right that this flashlight will create this hotspot, and it is because you're close. You got all this light going in that one spot. It's just not the same phenomenon that's happening when you have this. When you're looking at this angle here, and you have all this light everywhere, and all that, and the light's reflecting off something, and it's converging. It's doing that after it's reflected. It's not doing that beforehand. It's not as if you go there, you'll be hotter. It's not as if it's burning things there. It's a function of the way the light's bouncing off that place. I can see, I never really thought about connecting up this this flashlight thing, so I can see why for the first time ever, I can at least see why you guys say this, like why you guys think that this might be true, which I'd never understood before because it's never made any sense to me, because you guys are likening it to a flashlight next to a wall. I'm just trying to think of what the best way to sort of illustrate to you that these are two fundamentally different things. I mean, I think the best way is just that that a hotspot isn't gonna. If a boat was, we have no cases of boats passing through some spot on the ocean and suddenly burning to crisps, which is what you'd expect to happen in that kind of situation. There's not like there's little, circles of heat that are all over this place where these hotspots are. And that's because there really isn't a hotspot there. It's a matter of reflection. It's a matter of all the light being converged into your eye after it bounces there.
Well, again, that's all on paper. If you could show that area is not hotter, and it's just a reflection, then yeah, of course, you'd be onto something. But right now, we've got observations to show that the sun is extremely close, extremely local. Got the hot spots, which can only be explained with a local sun, and this idea that the sun is far away. Again, it's just based on the model with no evidence. So what we're looking for from Bio, I don't know if you heard earlier on, he's going to do an experiment for us to give us the first step into building the heliocentric model, because we don't have any evidence or science to support it at the moment.
We do.
How close is the sun, Chemo?
How close? Well, I mean, we've got a range. There's a range, isn't there? We've got like 3,000 miles. We've got like just under 3,000, just above. But again, no one's actually measured it. We don't even know where it is. We don't even know what it is.
Say that, Chemo.
The equilateral triangle suggests around 3,000 miles.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And that was a little experiment that was done, or a calculation.
Give me just 1 second, please. I'm going to show you. Been working on this while you guys were bullshitting for a while.
Well, again, 3,000 miles seems about right to give us the hotspots that we need.
Yeah,
well. Observing.
Let's play with that then.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Seems about right. It doesn't look too far away, right?
It must be tiny.
Find out.
3,000 miles.
Really
I don't know, but you tell me why the equilateral triangle is showing us this when you look at this fucking angles of the sun rays at 3,000 miles away.
Well,
you tell me.
It doesn't.
That's what the fucking triangle is telling us. So you know what? I'm going to agree with the triangle. And whatever you say, it really doesn't make much difference. That's what the triangle's saying.
Right.
Here's the
This is what happens when you actually think about things. Oh, there, Litchfink. Litchfink had the same mindset.
Triangle did the thinking, and it produced the answer.
That's fine, my man. Yeah, me and Litchfink both thinking the same way. It doesn't work out, man. There's nowhere you can't see the sun if we're that close and local. And if it were further away, than that, there'd be even less of a chance that you can't see it. So
this is your image, Kosha, with the 3 rays, yeah?
What's the one
that I posted?
equilateral triangle?
That's my name over it. Litchfink's doing the same thing though. So either one doesn't work, man. There's nowhere on Earth where you can't see the sun.
Can you explain your image?
Litchfink's got a dome over his one. What's the difference?
Can the Weiner define his argument? He's just said equilateral triangle so far.
Yeah.
Not only
That's
that,
exactly what I said.
but if it's 3,000 miles, it doesn't fit on the lunar eclipse. So, like, it would cover up the whole.
I mean, it was just a simple. It was a simple
No. See,
calculation.
the lunar
Someone
eclipse
was 3,000 miles away in Africa, and I think Brazil, and they simply found the angle of the sun ray that came in, and they're both at, I think, 60 degrees, and they're 3,000 miles away, so therefore the sun was 3,000 miles away. I mean, it's that simple. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay,
you got a problem.
No, there is no problem. What's the problem?
You can do the same type observation from 45 degrees
Yeah, you can do the same observation from 10 degrees.
at the same time.
So I mean,
You
look,
can
with
get
the
simultaneous observations that make that angle of elevation above the Earth different for each observer.
You can add in all
Your-
sorts of
your little
variables. This is pretty
cherry-picked data
specific.
point.
I took
Your
two
I
people
wasn't
seeing the
quite
sun.
finished. Whammer, I wasn't done. Your cherry-picked data point is just one of the data points in such an observation. You're choosing one and neglecting all of the others. Why would you do that?
That's not true. I'm actually not choosing anything. I'm specifically talking about a simple calculation
If you are,
that anybody can really just go do. And these are the fucking
but you're
results.
just
I don't know
talking
what to
about the
tell you.
one.
You're saying I'm cherry picking, but I'm really not.
because you're only talking about the one. And as I pointed out, you have multiple.
Yeah, I
you
happen
have
to be
multiple
talking about the
observations at
equilateral
same
triangle.
time that contradict your one observation, your one data point that happens to match
This
up.
is the
Like
one I'm
what?
talking about. You're
Which
correct.
one?
I'm not talking about anything else.
It's contradicted by the others.
No, it
So
isn't.
It's not valuable.
Like what?
It's wrong. It's wrong. It shows that the Earth is not flat. I'm glad you
Goodness
opened
sake.
this door.
If the sun
It's
measures
worth talking
3,000
about.
miles, what is the problem anywhere else?
Yeah,
That's the
well, I
measurement.
mean, that's what I'd like you to address.
But what's
Instead
the
of
problem?
sneezing past it and saying some irrelevant bullshit. If I posted some bullshit that Litchman has made when I've made. Anyways, they're up there.
Hold on,
scaled.
hold on, Kosho. Did
Yeah,
you
Can
include?
you explain them?
Yeah,
Kosho?
well, I
Can you
mean,
explain
if I
what
get a
we're
chance
doing?
No. Did you include?
Do it now.
Hold on, Kosho. In your model
I'm
thing.
about to punch my computer screen.
For goodness
dude. I don't need this
sake,
shit
can I
right
get my
now.
point out?
Listen, dude. No, you can't.
Kimo,
No, you can't. You
just
cannot
let
get
him-
your point out.
let him
Not until I'm
talk.
done. All right?
Before you give us the
Go ahead,
equations,
Kosho.
did you
Don't
include
even
the
try to.
atmosphere?
Kimo,
Don't
just
even try
relax,
to.
Kimo. Just
Don't even
relax,
try
bro.
to.
Just let him finish his point. Just let him finish his point.
If you zoom in the picture that I made, I've made the atmosphere. It goes as high as 100 kilometers. Okay? The North Pole is that fucking pole in the center. The sun's over the equator in mine. All right? It reaches all the way to the other end of the farthest point that would possibly be. On the other end, the sunlight reaches. Okay? If it were higher up, you have an even bigger problem. So
No,
it
it doesn't
can't
work
be
like that, Kosho.
Really, how does it work then, Chemo?
Like I say, you have to account for the atmospheric lensing.
What lensing, Kimo?
That gives you your personal
Where is your lens? It's a flat
observations.
plane.
See?
It is a flat plane. There is no lens.
Well, like I said, the atmosphere is what's thrown you
Kim,
off with
it's
all
a
your
flat
equations.
plane.
When you make
Show me a
calculations,
flat lens, please.
first of all, when we calculate the sun to be 3,000
Primo,
miles around
show me
that
a
height,
flat lens.
Let him
Let
talk.
him
But
finish, man.
yeah, so you're going to have to include these things, another equation to explain these observations. That's what you've got, Kosho. So all you've got, again, is something on paper without the atmosphere included, which is just part of the
Chemo,
model.
I've included the atmosphere. Quit being a jackass and let somebody who's not going to be a
No,
jackass
remember
answer.
our bet.
All right, Chemo.
Our bet was for you to demonstrate how the atmosphere works. You failed, Kosho. So you are in no place or
No,
position.
I didn't bother doing it.
Exactly.
You
You're
can
in
bring
no,
it up to me again.
Exactly.
After you
so
told me
you're
not
in
to
no.
pay you,
So,
Chemo.
Kosho, I didn't get to finish my point. So you're in no
Alright.
position.
No, I don't care,
To
Chemo.
explain.
I don't care,
Well,
Chemo.
you're in no
Address the
position,
picture that I made.
Kosho,
Address
to
the picture that I
explain
made instead of
how
having
the
me ask
horizon
relevant
works
bullshit.
or how the sun works when you failed to do an experiment which would have proven that you know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna go get some fucking breakfast, dude. I don't need any of this shit.
Go and get a coffee or something. That's what I mean. You can't just throw. I mean, again, we're trying to re-educate BioDual here.
you're not trying to do anything, and don't make that claim again, because it's really fucking annoying that you think that you're going to teach me anything when all I'm doing is teaching you, and you can't grasp something simple, very simple of what
Take
Kosho.
it easy, BioDual. It's not that
No,
big a
it's
deal.
very, very simple what he drew. Because one, if the sun was a flashlight, we would see it change shape in the sky. We don't. It's an object emitting light from all sides of a sphere. Two, we know how far and fast light travels. on a flat plane, we should always be able to see it. And if you can't, your claim that we can zoom in and bring things back should bring back the sun, and it doesn't.
No one's
These
arguing
are facts,
no,
Chemo.
Yeah, I get it again. I'm not arguing, at least I'm not arguing with any of these things. To me, I understand very clearly. You write these things down, this is what we think is happening. Now, what we're looking for is a demonstration. Now, remember, Kosho set out to prove that he knows how the atmosphere works. Now, this was like 2 or 3 years ago. Now, remember, that hasn't been shown. So, as a result of that, you've got him here today trying to produce equations without the atmosphere included. Come on. Now, you, on the other hand here, Bio, are saying, yeah, I can show that there is mass attracting mass, and I'm going to prove that what you're talking about is wrong. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for a fight or an argument. We're not looking for war.
Can you make a flat
That's
Earth
not what happened,
model
though.
and prove that sun is affected by the atmosphere? Make a flat Earth model and show it.
No, we don't have to do any of that. Remember,
No,
falsification is independent of replacement. All we're doing...
But you said you were re-educating us. You said this is a re-education effort. You said you were going to re-educate Bio.
Yeah.
So when is that going to begin? Now you're asking him to prove things to you. This is,
because what we're doing...
Re-education.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're doing is we're showing him how to use his brain, how to think, how to put pieces together.
When are you going to start doing that?
We've already started. This morning.
Kimo, you guys didn't know how to use your brain before you started how to use your brain.
He's made a wild claim. I said we'll accept this wild claim as long as we have evidence to back up. Yeah, we went through what's the difference.
He was saying that you made a wild claim.
I was like, I said Jesus. I said Jesus walked on water, and he was like, well,
no, you said that the light couldn't go very far.
No, because we were talking about on paper. Beach on paper. So if I say Jesus walks on water on paper and he can't replicate that, he's going to say, well, that's not true. That's not real. So on paper, he's got this idea that mass attracts mass. And he's like, no, someone's done this somewhere and I'm going to reproduce it. So I'm like, okay, let's go and see it. And he's like, okay, I've got to get to university. So I'm like, okay, when? And he's like, don't pressure me. And I'm like, well...
You're making this up as you go, aren't you?
You can't show
Veach, this just Bio, explain to Veach what's going on. He's obviously not up to date with the discussion.
Chemo doesn't accept the Cavendish experiment because he claims air pressure, and then we discussed how it's been done in a vacuum. I've showed him multiple papers, multiple peer-reviewed studies, the methodology, the results, calculations, all of that. He still doesn't accept it. So my personal energy will go forth and find a university in my area or somewhere, and then that has a vacuum chamber when they're performing a torsion balance experiment, and I will get it on video, and then I will give it to Chemo, and then Chemo will then again move the goalposts.
No. So at that point,
but at least I will have it.
Yeah, at that point, I said to him, this is how most people become flat earthers, because if they're honest with themselves, they actually go out there and say, right, I'm going to prove the flat earth is wrong. I'm going to prove the globe right. So when he goes out there and goes to his university and says, hey, professor, I need a vacuum. I need to prove mass attracting mass. And the professor's like, well, you can't today. Come back next week. He comes back next week. He can't, then he get suspicious. When he gets suspicious, he'll start thinking for himself, what's going on? Why can't I can't go back to Discord and gloat and boast and say I've got proof because all I've got is a piece of paper. And then he'll realize, well, hey, the Earth is not a globe, but there is no mass, there is no science.
I won't realize anything.
That would be the re-education. That's what we're talking about, Mr. Scott.
No, that's not you doing a damn thing. Your claim is that you're re-educating me. Is there anything that you can give me an education on right now?
He just clarified it for you, Duel, by saying when you
making wild claims based on nothing. He made assumptions and he's making predictions. That's it.
You can't figure it out. You're then going to start thinking for yourself. He just said that.
We have figured out so much already, and there's so much that you don't seem to understand that we try to explain to you.
I don't know.
It's not a compelling argument.
Attack on you. He's just saying.
It's not an attack on you either,
I get what's being said, but I'm not ever going to make decisions based on ignorance.
Well, then go out, like he said, find the professor, find the vacuum chamber, and produce the results of mass attracting mass. I would love to see.
Why do we need to do it in a vacuum chamber?
So again, let's stick to the top. Don't get derailed by Druss now about why. What you know the parameters right now. You know that this will change a lot of minds.
Keep discussing it.
This will change a lot of minds because, like I say, you will have a ground, a starting point.
It won't.
You're about to say, look, we've got a phenomena in nature where mass attracts mass. Now what? Now what, flatties? What can you say now? We've got the observed phenomena.
It'll be a goalpost move.
How?
It will.
How?
I'm
Explain to
predicting
me
it now.
how. Explain to if I see an observed phenomena in nature, I don't know the cause. My predicted cause was the atmosphere, was the temperature moving around, all that kind of stuff. You're eliminating that. How can I change the goalpost? What can I say?
Why?
You're right. I can't wait for that.
I'm asking you, how can I've told you my hypothesis? How can I change? I'm looking at objects moving. And that's the point there, Boy, you see.
I'd still like to know what you think the value of doing the Cavendish in a vacuum chamber would be.
So you see where we're at, Bio. We're not looking for an argument. We're looking for science. Okay, this is not a quiz show. If the Earth's a ball, it's a ball. If gravity's a thing, it's a thing. If you can demonstrate it, well, you can demonstrate it. If you can't, you have to accept. Well,
you will get pretty wealthy demonstrating it.
No.
You will, yeah.
No, you won't. Because it's just confirming what's been done before. That's all it is.
But do you agree then, if you fail, like Kosho, to provide an experiment, you must concede. You must. If you fail in your quest.
True.
No,
if that was true, then you guys would have conceded a long time ago, Chemo.
I'm saying to BioJules. No, because he's being honest.
You never continue the arguments. You make these paper arguments. You make these paper claims. These paper claims are full of dishonesty and deceptions.
No, one person at a time.
Mistakes, and you never once do experiments. So clearly, experiments are not the gold standard, are they?
See, by look what they're doing. Look, one person at a time. One at a time. So, Bio, if you on your quest cannot prove your claim, then you have to concede, like yourself. Forget about everybody else. You don't have to convince everybody else.
That's false. Just because I'm unable to do an experiment doesn't falsify the claim.
What does it mean then? If you can't prove something,
it means that I am unable to do a complicated experiment requiring high amounts of technology.
So what does
That's
it mean?
what it proves.
What does it mean?
It doesn't falsify the claim. If I can't do it.
So you haven't got the experiment. You've only got the paper. What now? What do we do now?
We move on, like I wanted to before, but I don't know why we're circling back.
Hold on. Let's say
we both understand their requirements.
Hold on.
Let's say hypothetically.
We understand each other.
Let's say
we understand each other. I don't know why we keep circling back.
Because I'm asking you, if you're saying that I can't do it, I couldn't produce it, I'm saying now we have no experiment, just a piece of paper. What do we do now? Do we just believe the paper without the experiment? And believe that
experiment yourself.
And then believe that Jesus walked on water in the past and believe the Bible? Or do we have an experiment that we can reproduce? What do we do?
Yeah, you should be able to reproduce it, Chemo.
I'll tell you one. I'll tell you what, Chemo. I'll go one further. If I attempt with a vacuum chamber, with mass, with a balance, with the string, with all of the equipment that I need, and I do it, and I don't get the results expected, then I would concede. If I'm unable to do the experiment at all, there is nothing to concede. We are where we are today, and that's it.
No. Nothing changes. If you do the experiment, obviously, you don't get the results, you've got to concede, right?
Right, obviously. Right. I mean, that goes without saying, I thought.
That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about, you see? And that's where we're saying here, Veach, about the re-education, because once he realises that there is no science, then he'll have to start asking why. Why is there no science to support my claim?
I find it funny that someone just wants to reject an idea out of hand because they haven't personally done an experiment, really haven't even looked at the methodology that sits behind it, then puts ridiculous criteria around it with no real justification. I mean, not even Whammer would give me a justification of why in a vacuum chamber. It just seems to be another dodge, duck, dive, and excuse to push away evidence. And, it's a pretty standard flat earth kind of model, no edge, no dome, you might as well go home.
La-di-da-di, we like to party.
So now that we've put that to bed, and I hope we don't circle back to it, can we address the images that Kosho and Lich made about on a flat plane, how we should be able to see the sun 3,000 miles in the air?
Once again, Kosho failed to produce an experiment. Kosho failed to produce, just like you're going to fail, Kosho failed to produce an experiment to show how the atmosphere works.
He didn't ask you that. He asked, can we look at this image that we showed? It has nothing to do with what you think he failed at 2 years ago. It's ridiculous. So he has a legitimate question, and the answer is yes, we can look at that image.
What Ko shows 3 lines. The sun rays.
So what he's basically
Let's look
depicting
at-
is that a local sun 3,000 miles away above a flat plane,
Mm-hmm.
we should be able to even calculate the angular resolution from anywhere on a flat plane Earth
No
to
chance.
determine the size of the sun to be able to see it. First of all, we can calculate that, and then from there, we should be able to see it from most places that we don't.
No chance. You've got no chance in that at all. You're not listening, are you? Unless you know how the atmosphere works, the magnification, the lensing, the temperatures, all these wonderful things. There is no way you'll be able to calculate any distances of objects in the sky.
But you claim that it's about 3,000 due to the equilateral triangle.
Yeah.
Although we can't calculate it.
We don't know that. It just looks that way. That's
But we
the
can't
point.
calculate it. According
It's
to you,
just be a
right?
calculation. It's not an actual measurement, right? We're just like guesstimating.
No, you can make calculations. I could calculate the height of my house using shadows and angles.
Yeah, but what we're doing is
I don't even need to measure the height of my house, but I can make a very accurate measurement without ever actually measuring it.
Yeah, I know, but what we're doing is basing the sun's distance and size based on the size of the Earth and the distance to other objects, which again is all improved. You see, on paper, it's on the model.
Okay, sure. So that's what you have. So what I'm saying is, because we're on a flat plane, the sun should never be below the horizon.
Wrong.
It should never be below the horizon.
Incorrect.
So
incorrect.
Why?
I've just told you how I've told you we've replicated. You understand what I'm saying? My words. We've demonstrated how the atmosphere works. We have done that.
So because of the atmosphere and different types of refraction, different densities of the air, different material in the air, you're saying the sun can go below the horizon.
It appears to. Remember, the horizon is not physical, yes? And the sun gives the appearance, the illusion that it's lowering or going down, something like this. But in actual reality, it's in the sky, it stays above the clouds, within the clouds the whole time. It's not really going down, right?
You do realize the laws of perspective and angular resolution don't allow things above your eye level to go below your eye level.
That's
correct?
why we're re-educating you. All of this you'll have to know, re-understand, and relearn, basically. If what you're saying is
no,
true...
but I want you to address this specific point. The specific point is things above your eye level cannot be below your eye level just because they are farther from you. You understand that, right?
Depending on the atmosphere, right? You can get all kinds of mirages and...
How would it be in your favor, Chemo?
When you have a type of refraction like that, the same occurrence should happen to the ground as well. If it's approaching the horizon like that,
look, all of this,
then it should happen to the ground as well. So then the sun should never be below the horizon.
This is the problem. All of this should. This is the assumption, right? And when you make assumptions like this, you're not going to learn.
It's not
anything.
assumption; it's reality.
You're not going to learn anything because you're just saying, "Well, I assume it to be. It must be like this over here, so it must be like that over there too." When you have
what am I saying that's false then?
But you're saying that the sun is going down, physically going down around curvature, right? Calculations say that's what's happening.
It would appear that the sun is going below the horizon from my perspective on a sunset.
It looks like that, yeah. But in reality, we know that's not happening, right?
So what is happening? Because we've already established with the laws of perspective that it should not go below your eye level. It should stay above your eye level. Just as things below your eye level can only rise to your eye level. Can never be above your eye level.
I just tried to tell you, not listening. We know what's happening. The atmosphere is acting like a lens, yes, giving the illusion that the sun is going down. Now, again, how do we know this? Because we have a demonstration to replicate it.
Without a lens, can you do it without a lens, Chemo?
Do it without a lens?
Yeah, no. Do a small scale without a lens.
Do my experiment without my predicted cause? No.
Without a lens, I said without a lens.
Yeah, without my predicted cause. Then no, I can't. No, of course not. That's my predicted cause. I cannot do it without my predicted cause. No.
You should be able to demonstrate reality. You have to introduce
Pyro.
something new, then it kind
It's
of.
my predicted cause.
Sounds like he's using a reification.
Where do you see a
to
lens
actually
in
take
reality?
This lens into reality when it isn't in reality because he can't demonstrate.
We see distortion, yeah? Remember the crane was bendy?
But where's this lens?
What happened to the bendy crane?
Where's this lens in reality,
The
Kimo?
bendy crane was distorted. It was bent, it was bigger, smaller.
But where's the lens?
Oh my god.
We don't witness this distortion during a sunset. What we witness.
Listen, hold on, let me address Pyro here a second. So Pyro,
go ahead.
The bendy crane, remember, does it look like that in reality?
Well,
but it's not caused by lensing.
Make things go bendy.
Yeah, well, a lens would have
Do you take pictures?
and it would be
No,
problematic
it
if you've
doesn't.
got multiple observers looking at the same sunset that all see
It doesn't
different
look
things.
like that in reality, right? Pyro, no. Right? And the reason why you may have a bigger crane or a smaller crane.
Why would you have to introduce? Why can't you just use the air around you? Why do you have to bring in a lens to replicate your effect?
Because we're using our predicted cause to show the effect.
What? So why do you have to introduce something new that's not part of reality?
That is part of reality. We do see things in nature magnified and smaller. And bendy and twisted.
Fast lens isn't natural because it's man-made, so you can't use it in
Don't need it to be.
well, according to QE.
Don't need it to be. The natural phenomena has to be natural, not man-made. The replication obviously is man-made. That's the point of it.
But isn't a lens man-made?
Yeah, the lens is man-made. That's our predicted cause, yeah. So
But we don't see a lens.
Just like medium, the mediums that we use, you don't see in nature, like syrup or honey or milk. Well, you do see milk in nature, but we do see honey in nature. But other medium changes, like bleach or washing up liquid, so we don't see that in nature. But what we do see in nature is density change. So we need to replicate that. We don't have to take the same density materials to replicate that. We just replicate the predicted cause.
So why do you have to introduce something new?
That's what I'm saying. That's where you get confused. You're saying
I'm not confused.
You are confused because in nature you see the phenomenon. You're replicating it with man-made tools.
But we're not using man-made. What?
My God, you're not building. You're not building the man-made tool first and then seeing your phenomenon. You don't build an object and say, "Oh, look, natural phenomenon." No, you see your natural phenomenon first in nature, and then you replicate it with man-made tools.
I think really though, what he needs to show is an object that's higher in elevation than us, going below our eye line, to really show that his point has a robust, position to start from. Because I've never seen that. Now he's trying to say the sun is above us and therefore never goes below our eye line, but it looks like that. And it seems to be anything that does. So why the special cleaning for this when it doesn't apply to anything else?
It does look like that, and that's what the phenomenon is, isn't it? That's what we're questioning, and that's what we need to replicate. Yes?
Kimo, quickly, I posted a video of watching a sunset twice with a drone, and all he did was rise in elevation.
Sure.
So I'm wondering if the sun on a flat plane is far enough away to disappear due to the atmosphere, how can rising in elevation bring back the sun? It's arguably farther away as the drone goes up because time goes on still, right? So the distance is increasing past the point where we can't see it due to the atmosphere, yet we can see it twice with the drone rising in elevation. Strange.
It is strange, which is why, like I say, we have an experiment here which explains everything in great detail here. So you've got
Tell you what.
Got the density.
Kimo, you incompetent fool. You dropped the ball on that when you had him, Kimo, and you let it get away.
Again, we've got the experiment here, and this is why we have the knowledge that we do. Yes, we didn't write it down on the piece of paper. We didn't guess. We saw something in nature. sun
Kimo,
that
where
we
sun?
saw what appeared the sun going over the
sun's up
horizon.
in the sky, Kimo. When you rise up, you get closer to the sun. You're not decreasing. I'm sorry, you're not increasing the distance. You're decreasing the distance.
No. So what happens is
How
because
can you overlook such a simple thing?
oh
Kimo?
yeah, I had to think about that for a second. Just had to because we were talking about different things. So when you look at the horizon, there, bio, objects are pulled down towards the horizon, and obviously
Like a vacuum.
No. Just through magnification. Again, we can test this. Ranty's done an experiment. Brandon's done an experiment, which show objects at the horizon appear to be pulled. But obviously, when you go down, when you stand up, the sun again is being magnified towards the horizon.
What was their independent variables?
The atmosphere. And the predicted cause would have been, like I said, the lensing effect.
All right, so independent variables. So they use different vibrating butt plugs in their experiments?
No, just one variable, atmosphere.
Oh, the same vibrating butt plug.
No, just the lensing effect.
It's a strange way to describe it, but
so
bio,
that's what separates, the community that we're in between you and Kosho.
No. We're not going to go off on a tangent. We're not going to go off on a tangent.
Okay.
I would like for you to address the video of seeing a sunset twice.
I've just told you, haven't I?
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because all we did was add elevation. And if you're gonna say that the speed of the drone rising in elevation is faster than the apparent sun speed, we're gonna have bigger problems. Because the time that it takes that drone to rise is so much slower than the sun's speed across the sky. So there's no reason that you're decreasing distance between the drone and the sun just by rising in elevation in this short amount of time. There's no decrease in distance.
Let me show you. Let me help you out a little.
You're not bringing anything back on a flat plane if it's already too far to see. You're not bringing it back. On a sphere, what's going to happen is that right at sunset at low elevation, you'll see the sun disappear over the horizon. And then when you quickly add elevation, you're going to be able to bring it back for a short amount of time to see it again go down.
Okay,
it's
look.
Perfectly
I
explainable.
don't know if you see that image. Did it come up?
Yeah.
Alright, here we go. Look. So, got to understand the image on the left and the image on the right.
Different days, Chemo.
Yeah, different days. But they're the same.
Different days, different atmospheric conditions. It does not apply. I'm going to call it out as soon as I see it.
Alright, but I'm trying to explain something about what happens at the horizon. So you've got the platform on the left picture on the right. So the right platform on the left picture. It looks closer to the horizon, yes? You see that?
On a different day with different atmospheric conditions? Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so on a different day, but in the same location, same elevation, you've got the platform looks really close to the horizon. And on a different day, it looks really far from the horizon, right?
On a different day, I agree.
Yeah, it looks really far from the horizon. So what's going on? Did the horizon move? Did that object move? Why does that object look close?
You have more refraction on the right side, giving you a different apparent horizon. Now, in my video, it is the seconds apart. So you're going to have to explain how the refraction in the atmosphere changes that rapidly and extreme in seconds to bring back the sun.
That's not
when your example that you're trying to explain that with is at different complete days.
Yeah, not difficult at all, like I said. But you have to try to understand what's happening in the image that you're looking at, right?
Timo, stop dodging and just answer him.
I'm trying to answer. I mean, unless I explain what's going on, remember we're trying to re-educate him on what's happening in there.
Stop explaining and shout.
You're not re-educating anybody. What I'm telling you is in your picture, the left side is a better representation of reality. The right side is a distorted picture due to refraction, giving you a different apparent horizon, and then the objects are appearing in different places due to the refraction. I get that. I understand. We agree on that. But again, you're showing an example of different days. My video is 2 seconds. between not seeing the sun and seeing the sun. The only difference is rising in elevation.
Yeah. So you changed elevation. We didn't change elevation. Okay. So if you try to listen to what's being said, none of that matters. What matters is the object really at the horizon on the left? So the one that's on the picture on the left.
Stop diverting chemo.
Picture on the left, the platform that is on the right, is that really at the horizon? That's the question that we need to ask.
All right, could we just get to the point already, chemo?
And what we found,
just get straight to the point.
What we found through experiment.
Get straight to the point.
What we found through experiment
he's going to dodge, dive, and duck.
The object at that horizon is not really at the horizon. It gives the appearance of it being so low. Look how much lower it is than the one on the right. Biodual. Now, is it really that high? Of course not, right? But the atmosphere has brought it down towards the horizon, and it gives the illusion of the platform sitting just above the horizon. Now, if we clear up that magnification, the atmosphere, we change the temperature, we can see a lot further, we can see a lot more, better and clearer, which is the picture on the right, and then we can see the actual platform where it really is and what it really
Are you
looks
saying
like.
the picture on the right is clearer than the picture on the left?
Well, we see more of the platform, yeah?
No. You used the word clearer, and I want clarification. Do you think that the right picture is clearer than the left one?
Well, do you mean
medium change?
Do you mean in contrast?
Can you guys post the images again?
No, clear. When we talk about pictures and we use the word clear, we're talking about clarity.
Here's
Do you think the picture on the right has more clarity than the left?
Yeah, well, I'm saying that we can see more of the platform on the right.
Then don't use the word clear, but go ahead.
We
do see more of the platform on the right.
Like if you look to the left and you were like, well, what is that? What is that? I can't see what it is. It's behind the horizon. But on the right, you can say, yes, it's the platform. I can see now. Yes, it's got legs.
Do we see more of the platform?
Well, we can see the legs on the right. Yes,
it is clear.
The right
Very
side for
small
sure.
picture.
The left platform, you can make the argument that the left platform you can see a little bit more. But as far as clarity, the left one is far clearer than the right. But go on.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. And the reason
what
why,
platform?
the reason why it might
image, but
the reason why you
the
might
right
say it's clearer is because the atmosphere has brought it closer to you to give you more detail, more image, yeah? And that's the illusion that we're talking about here.
medium change chemo.
No, it doesn't appear closer. It appears to rise. If you stack those two pictures on top of each other, they're going to be the same size. It doesn't appear to be closer. It appears to rise. And because I think we've hit that picture to death, I would ask again, how do you explain seeing two sunsets by only rising in elevation mere seconds apart from each other, which we know the refraction variables are not going to change that quickly.
Okay,
and we know that the sun is moving faster than the drone can rise. So we know that it's not decreasing in distance.
Fabulous. But now we've just been educated on how objects are pulled forward. Now let's think about this. The sun, when you're standing up or lying down, whatever, is being pulled towards the horizon, right? So when it disappears, you stand up, again, it's being pulled towards the horizon. So as you go higher, it gets pulled until you clear the atmosphere, that magnification, and then you'll see the sun in its true location, in its true position. That's why you see it again and again and again. We know this, because you can go to the bottom of a building, see the sun set, go to the top, and see the sun set again. And the only way that can happen is by this image, like this image we see here, is the sun is being pulled towards the horizon every time that you get a visual of it. And that can be
That's false. And you even said earlier, when addressing Kosho's image, you had no explanation that you're giving right here. Your explanation at that time was that there's too much atmosphere, too much distance in the way. Now you're completely changing that because it's a different context of a real world example of bringing the sun back. So if you're going to flip-flop with explanations, which one is it? Is it because it's too far and there's too much atmosphere in between? Or is it because of some type of pulling to the horizon? Which one is it?
Well, it's kind of a combination of both, because when the sun is overhead, it's not being pulled down towards the horizon, is it? It's over your head. But as it moves away from you, the atmosphere kicks in, takes play, and we can see the effects. We see how the sun appears to go down, and it appears to reappear when you stand up.
I don't even know if you believe your own explanations.
Well, again,
I really
it's,
don't.
it's not about my explanation. It's about the demonstrations. We've got the demonstration. This is not on paper. This is an.
No. We have the demonstration. Your demonstration takes place over days, allowing the refraction, temperatures, density, humidity, allowing all these variables to change over days to make some type of point. My demonstration takes seconds. Nothing changes except for the sun is probably farther away when the drone rises. That is the only change, yet we can bring it back easily, and however many times you'd like to, just raise elevation.
That was just to illustrate why you can see the sun again when you stand up. Just that image there with the because that's the black swan image. That debunks a different argument altogether, but it also helps explain your question of why does the sun reappear. And we've tested, like I say, if you go onto Ranty's channel or Brandon's, they've done this where objects disappear, change the temperature, you change the lens in, and the object will reappear.
Two things. I'm going to address two things right now. One, they change the optics when you can't see it with your eyes or with a low magnification. When they zoom in, it is not being physically obstructed by any type of horizon. When a boat is obstructed physically by a horizon, there is no magnification that you can do to bring that bottom part back. That is impossible, and that's never been shown. What's trying to be shown in those videos is I can't see it with my eyes, but look, I brought it back with magnification. I have no problem with that. The problem is when it's physically obstructed. And then two, I forgot the second one, but that's fine.
What we know now from this black swan image is what you're asking about, seeing the sun set. Let's say the sun sets, you're lying down. You could still stay lay down, and the sun will reappear if the horizon were to move. Let's say the conditions changed. You wouldn't have to change. You wouldn't have to change elevation, or move forward, or any of that. You would just simply wait for the temperature to change, the weather to change, and you would see the sun again without changing elevation.
Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? Like, I'm being serious. I'm not trying to be facetious or disrespectful or sarcastic. But do you understand how ridiculous that sounds when you're laying down, and it the moment that it goes below the horizon, that you're saying that temperature, density, some type of variable will change so drastically that it'll bring the sun back? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, from what we know of the black swan, where you don't have to change elevation or position, and you can see more of an object because the horizon is not physical. What you're saying about the sun, so you could stand up, see the sunset, depending on the conditions, you could see the sunset again, depending on, like I say, on the weather. This is what we know now through the black swan, because the horizon is not a physical location.
I would love for you to show
No,
any demonstration of that.
No. I'm not going to go out there and prove that. I'm just saying to you, from what we know,
So you have something on paper?
Yeah. No. I'm saying because of the black swan. Because of the black swan.
Have an alternative hypothesis for the black swan photo.
Because of the black swan here,
Basically, we know the American government lies all the time. We know that whales are a high value commodity. You know, blue whale will fetch up to 5 million for its body parts and meat. It's not politically correct to obviously hunt whales, so they invented a stealth mechanism called Whale Crusher 1, which is a way of attracting the whales in using low frequency sound. They then attract them into the whale crusher. That then will trap them, slice them, dice them, and extract the oil all in one motion. And that's exactly what you're seeing in that photo. I admit that I have no more evidence to back up my point than Chemo does, but I think you'll find that it is a valid, solid, and logically justifiable argument.
But Bio, what you were saying, I like that. I find that interesting. You were saying this sounds crazy. This is ridiculous. What did you say? Do I realize how? Say it again. So what did you say?
Do you realize how ridiculous you sound that in a matter of seconds that you'll have such a drastic change that you will see a sunset twice without changing anything about your own location, elevation, or anything. The only thing that changes is refraction. You're saying that'll happen that fast is what your claim is.
Yeah, so that sounds like, really crazy, yeah? Like you're saying. But that's been our point the whole time. I'm glad you're seeing it this way now, actually, because
I'm waiting for a proof. Are you just going to talk about it, or are you going to provide a proof of this happening? Because what the black swan picture does in this scenario, in the context that you're trying to make it, one still image doesn't depict two different refraction occurrences over a few seconds. It's one image.
Okay, go on. How much time passed between the two? It could have been an hour.
48 hours.
It could have been 30 minutes. Could have been 12 hours. Could have been 20. How much time passed between?
2 days. The difference between those.
How much time? But this is the point, Bio, right? You're saying, could it happen just like that, or could it happen over days? So the point is,
could it happen?
The point is,
could it happen just like that in my video?
Bio, you're missing the point here. So I said to you,
no.
You lie down. You lie down. The sun sets. You stay lie down. You see the sun again. But in your head, you're saying, well, how can it reappear over the physical horizon, right? It's set. It's gone down around the curvature, is what you're saying in your mind, yeah? So the only way for me to see it again...
It has gone around the curvature, yes.
Yeah. So in your mind, you're saying, well, it's set. And in my mind, the only way to see that sun again would be to stand up and see further, yeah?
Correct. Increase elevation.
Right. That's my point. So, how then do we explain the black swan with exactly the same situation? We didn't change elevation.
It is not the exact situation, man. I can't believe that I have to go in this much detail. But
okay, what's the difference?
I'm going. What's the difference? There's a time frame difference of my video showing bringing back a sunset within 2 seconds due to the speed of the drone. But you can do it yourself
have to do
at the beach,
2
laying down.
You can go to the bottom of a building. You can go to the bottom of a building, go up the elevator.
Right. We both agree.
Climb the stairs. Take your time. You don't have to rush. Get a cup of tea. Speak to a couple of friends. Go to the top. See the sunset again. It's not about 2 seconds. The point. You're missing the point.
So there's time between two measurements. What you're trying to provide is one picture, and then the other picture where there are two occurrences. You're talking about days. What you're saying is that it can happen in seconds. Your example is between days. There is a huge difference, and it's amazing that you're attempting to make this relevant in this context.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. So how long does it take you to get up to the top of the tallest building in the world?
We don't even need to do that. You can lay down on the beach and you can stand up
I'm saying you get
quickly,
the same result.
and it'll be about 9 seconds.
But you can get the same result
standing up for about 9 seconds.
Same results going to the top of the building. You go to the bottom of the building, sunset. You go to the top, get the same sunset again. Same results, but longer time.
Because you're rising in elevation.
Yeah, so it's not just 9 seconds. You can take 30 minutes. You go
we can
higher,
use a drone, and it'll take 2 seconds to bring it back.
You don't have to take 2 seconds, though. The point is, you're saying that once it's gone, it's gone. You can't bring it back.
If you don't change your elevation, you cannot bring it back.
Right.
I agree.
But what if I wait some time for the weather to change and don't change elevation?
You could probably wait 23 hours and 59 minutes and watch it again.
No. I'm saying an object that goes over the same horizon. So the sun sets and a boat sets. Both gone over the horizon at the same time. So would I be able to bring any of those objects back?
If you rise in elevation,
what if I just
don't
stay
see why
in
you
the
wouldn't be
same
able to.
place? What if I stay in the same place?
You would not be able to bring them back. If they are truly beyond the horizon, you will not be able to bring them back without rising in elevation.
Right, so in my black swan image, the legs are truly beyond the horizon. You can't see the legs on the left.
You're not understanding at all, Chemo. You're showing differences between days. Yes, between days, you're going to have different atmospheric conditions. You're going to have different temperatures of the water. You're going to have different refractions. I get that.
Okay.
But what I'm talking about is bringing something back in a matter of seconds by only changing elevation.
Well, just wait. What's the big deal if you just wait a little bit?
Okay, Question.
ignore
So
him.
you're
Just
at the
move on.
beach, and you're at the beach, and the sun does go below the horizon, obviously.
And the
How
and the
long
boat and
do
the
I have to
boat.
wait for refraction? No, I don't give a shit about the boat. How long do I have to wait
No, but it's an
for
object, right?
the
Is the sun
temperature,
hold on.
density,
Is the sun an object or
atmosphere
not?
to change enough to bring the sun back? How long do I have to wait?
Is the sun an object or is it not an object?
I don't give a shit about the boat. We're talking about the sun.
I said, is the sun
We're
an
not-
object?
What would happen if you zoom in on your elevation?
But look, the sun. The most important thing you got to understand is that you don't need to change elevation to see the object that has disappeared over the horizon.
Kimo,
Yes,
I'm asking you a question.
What's the question?
What would happen if you zoomed in on your elevation?
If you zoomed in to the horizon, yeah.
No.
I don't know what you want about.
I don't know either, to be honest.
Zoom in on your elevation.
I don't know what you mean. But look, this is what happens, Bio, because they get it that you don't have to change elevation to see the object that has disappeared over the horizon. You just have to wait. Now, that could be 1 second. We just don't know.
No.
It could be 10 days. It could be 2 days. It could be 12 hours. We just simply don't know. Simply because...
What you're talking about is an object stationary in the water, not going anywhere. So it's going to be there over the course of a few days. What I'm talking about is the sun doing the same phenomena, but it's actively moving and it's not stuck in the water. So we don't see this change in refraction that you're talking about when it comes to the sun going over the horizon.
I mean, my question would be why? Why wouldn't you be able to see it once it's disappeared?
Because the changes in refraction aren't occurring that quickly.
No.
If
Once
you think
it's gone,
they are,
you're saying,
gonna have to explain
listen,
this.
hold on. So it's gone over the horizon. You're lying down. You're saying that you'll never see it again. Why?
Without raising an elevation,
Mhm.
you won't be able to.
Why? What's the
You won't
reason?
be able to see this.
Why?
Because the Earth is curved and
There
we're
you
rotating
go. You see?
seemingly. Oh,
That's my point.
what?
You're presupposing the cause to this effect.
There we go. Subject change. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
That was my point. You're not demonstrating the cause to this effect. You're just saying, well, it's gone up because of curvature. And I'm saying, well, you know the horizon's not physical. So if it's not physical...
Subject change. I'm not interested in continuing. Thank
It's
you.
the same subject. My point is the cause to the sun disappearing is not the same cause as your cause. Your cause is Earth curve. I'm saying to you the horizon's not physical. So once something disappears beyond it, well, you could see it again. Why not? There's no reason why you couldn't, just depending on the weather.
So with the sun, if the horizon's not physical, what is blocking the sun? What is it's obviously going past the horizon optically. If it's not physical, how is it being blocked?
Well, there's been a number of different answers. Plain blockage.
I want your answer, Kimo.
I mean, again, I would say it's the multiple lensing, the magnification. Again, is what we replicated, demonstrated in that video I posted. Once it gets too far away, it gives the illusion that it's disappeared.
So raise elevation, don't decrease distance, and there it is again.
Yeah, you can see you're seeing through a less dense medium of that.
No, you're not, because the sun has increased. It has a faster speed than the drone is rising, and so it's going to be more atmosphere between you and sun versus when you saw it on ground level and saw it with the drone above. It's going to be a greater distance, more atmosphere.
But the higher the atmosphere is supposed to be thinner, right, as you go up in altitude.
Oh, it's not going to be. It's going to be negligible difference between where you are and 30 feet, let's say. Probably a good estimate for the drone.
On paper.
No, proven. It's going to be negligible. So again, you went back to the distance thing. So I can accept as an argument, not as reality, the lensing and the distance. I can accept that as an argument. But what I can't accept is you blatantly ignoring bringing it back.
You asked me my opinion on what the obstruction is.
And it's the same horizon with the same refraction level and a farther distance. All I'm doing is raising elevation and it's coming back.
Well, again, like I
Within your own
said,
explanation,
I'm
it's
only
impossible.
interested in the cause to the effect. So what we've been able to do is look at the predicted cause to the sun's phenomenon of disappearing, and we've came up with an experiment to show that. You still have it on paper. You think it's because of curvature without any actual measurement. So again, where do we go from here? You have ideas, I have experiments. What's next?
No, you have nothing.
Oh no, I've shown you the experiments. I've shown you those with the drone. That's all I need.
Yeah, I've told you what I've told
The
you.
refraction
what.
level is the same, so we're not going to talk about lensing. And then the distance, it actually increases as you raise in elevation because the drone's not faster than the sun. So we can get rid of refraction because the refraction level is the same, and then we can get rid of distance because it goes
why
opposite
is
to
it
what
the
your claim
same?
is. So bringing it back should be impossible.
Go ahead, Wemmer.
Why is it the same? Why is the refraction the same as you go up? As you go up, doesn't it get thinner?
If you go up to an extreme, but 30 feet is not going to be.
Even 30 feet is.
It's going to be a negligible difference.
No, it's a significant difference than being, just standing on the ground.
You're supposed to be
so long as you. So as long as you can see that there's a gradient atmosphere, we can press on.
No, I'm just saying to you. I'm saying to you, there's supposed to be a atmosphere.
In actuality, what change are you making when you're looking at the sun? What is actually between you and the sun? You got to quantify this shit in order to be able to make.
No, we don't have to even answer that. Actually, none of that. We don't have to get. You asked us what we think. No, we don't. You asked us what we think, Bio. Right? We know.
First of all, you can't even state how high the sun is.
Right? You think you've got a victory here because
you
asked
have
us
no
what,
argument, Chemo.
Because you asked us what
you
we
have
think
to accept
is
whatever
obscuring the sun
about this because you guys have no rebuttal.
So because you asked me then, because you accepted the horizon's not physical, then you said, what do you think's obscuring the sun? So if I don't know. Do you know, Bio, what's obscuring the sun? You said curvature. Therefore, you're presupposing...
due to the curvature of the Earth.
Therefore, you're presupposing your cause to this effect, and again, it's not science.
That's fine. If that's where you want to end this, I'm totally fine with that. I feel like the explanations that you've given, I've completely destroyed because you only gave two, both of which are the one was the opposite with the drone, and then the refraction levels were the same, meaning we shouldn't be able to bring back the sun in either situation, but we do. So your two explanations are destroyed. The examples and analogies that you gave were over the course of days, while I'm talking about seconds, and you have no rebuttal for that either. So again, if we're going to move on to another subject, this is where I end it. I think we've talked to death about it.
Well, what we've ended it with, as usual, is the presupposition that Earth curve is the cause of your obstruction. You've already said the horizon is not physical, and then you went and asked me what's obscuring the sun. That's where we are right now, Bio. We're at the place now.
I never said that it wasn't physical. You said it was, so I said.
Yeah, but you understand. But again,
if it isn't.
Well, look. Let's slow down. We know the black swan shows the horizon is not physical. Yeah.
Not true.
So that's how we know. And that's why you can agree that this image, where we haven't changed elevation, we haven't changed elevation. Oh, where's that image? We haven't changed elevation. We haven't
just
moved.
days.
Don't sodomize words.
So are you saying that if you change
that oil rigs aren't physical?
Are you saying over time the Earth moves, the physical horizon moves over time?
The physical geometric horizon does not. The apparent horizon can optically.
Words here with physical.
So in that image, which one's the geometrical physical horizon?
I'd make the claim that we won't be able to see geometric horizon due to having an atmosphere. I wish we didn't have an atmosphere sometimes, so then we could do real tests.
So you would both agree then that none of those horizons are geometrical or physical.
I would agree that they're not geometric, but I will not agree that they are not physical.
Well, if it's physical, you can calculate the distance to that geometrical horizon.
So, Kimo, what's actually causing
in a number of ways you probably could, but because
if it's if you make a calculation, then
it is a physical horizon.
If you make a calculation to that physical geometrical horizon, then that should stay there. That physical geometrical horizon should be there.
Do not say physical and geometric. Only say geometric because that is assuming no atmosphere.
Well, that's the
and that's
edge there,
calculation
yeah?
you get per sphere.
See,
but don't
this
confuse
is
that
how
with a
you
physical
know
horizon.
Chemo's lying and trolling.
This is the
This
edge.
is how you know he's lying and trolling. Listen to his behavior, how he keeps insisting
An
on
apparent
sticking the
horizon can
geometrical
still
in
contain
there.
physical properties
Despite-
by blocking physical
What the
objects.
fuck?
So we've got the image on the left. We know that's the end of the ball
So
where things will be.
apparently, this is a 1v1. I take it.
No, it's like
I think it just turned into
it's like
something.
3
but
versus
I don't
1.
treat it like that.
I have a quick question. If the Earth was flat,
Really?
wouldn't
I guess you just can't hear me talking sometimes.
It's a 3 verse. You got pyro, we got curve, we got bio, all against me.
Well, apparently I'm not here because I just hear myself being talked all over.
Are you being serious?
And it's
Curve?
not like I'm talking that much. You go back over the last 2 hours and let's compare who's been doing the talking.
But no one's
I've
actually
had very little
talking
to
to
say.
you. No one's actually talking to you, Curved. That's the issue.
Wah.
Okay, I think you're allowed to chime in when you want to chime in.
I know. What's the point in it?
I have a question. If the Earth was flat, we wouldn't really have the distortion, would we?
Atmosphere,
Yeah.
of course you would.
That's an entire different debate.
If the earth were flat, would Whammer still be a giant retard? Of course.
Hey, just a quick question. I heard Chemo say that they had 2 experiments that were demonstrated. Was one of those experiments the Fresnel lens with the sun?
Bob Skiba's experiment, yeah.
Yeah. What was the independent variable and all that?
The independent variable was the cause, which was the lens, yeah.
It's the refraction.
So where do you see that in reality?
Magnification.
That's
I've just
where
told
the
you that the
as it
cranes,
sets.
were bent, were all over the place. They were distorted. They were larger, smaller, different sizes. Not how they really looked in reality. So there's your evidence of atmospheric magnification.
But on a regular day, you can see it as normal. So
Depends how close you are to it. If you're far away, you're going to get a lot of distortion, a lot of magnification.
but on a good day, you can see it clearly.
Good day. I mean,
Or
is there
it's
really a
not
good
there.
day? There's no such thing as a good day when it comes to the horizon. Any horizon is never a good day.
Are you assuming that, or do you know that for sure? Are you
Yeah, we
assuming that,
know
or do
for
you know
sure. Yeah, we know for a fact.
You'll
that-
always have refraction. It's just trying to get it to a minimal point.
We're just talking about the horizon, Pyro. So if you look at the horizon, if you ever see a horizon, it's never a good day for the horizon, ever. You'll never get a perfect, consistent observation over the horizon.
You can minimize the refraction, and it's obvious to tell when it's minimized. But you'll always have some type of refraction. Now, that doesn't mean having some type of refraction does not at all mean shit's going to be fucked up all the time.
You are in a
when
world
it's
of trouble,
minimized,
Bio.
it can be negligible compared to reality, but you will always have some
It's
type of
actually a
percentage.
good explanation as to why you see the sun appearing to set. Is Rob Skiba's entire experiment is about.
Yep. Hold on. That's what I tried to explain. That's the predicted cause, you see, Wama. He predicted, well, does the atmosphere act like a lens, like a magnifier? Let me test that. Let me check that out. And lo and behold, yeah, we can replicate exactly what we see in reality. Yeah. Perfect. No
I don't think
paper.
anyone's disputing that.
I want.
Oh, you're not
I don't
disputing
know
that?
how. What would cause refraction on
No,
a flat Earth?
what I'm
Temperature, Pyro, temperature change.
what
But
I
can you
disagree,
explain-
and I feel like I've proven, is that with Chemo's explanations,
Mhm.
they are not sufficient because it is the same amount of refraction between the drone being 30 feet and you
No,
at
it's
ground
not.
level. It's the same amount of refraction.
It's
And
not.
then his explanation with distance as it increases will prevent you from seeing it. The distance is greater between the two levels of viewing
No,
the
it's
sun.
not. It's not the same amount of refraction. As you go higher, it's much thinner. From
Temperature
your
change
perspective, you're not
is
You need
looking
medium
through.
change.
You need to go
You
to a
gotta remember, you're
significant.
looking through the atmosphere.
You need
and
to
it's
go to a
far more
significant
denser
elevation.
as you are, near to the ground. So 30 feet up,
No,
it's just
I
not
understand that, but 30 feet up is negligible.
true. And it's not negligible.
It absolutely
No
is.
way.
Do you breathe differently between 30 feet elevation and ground level? No, it's negligible. You could probably calculate a difference, but it's going to be negligible when we're
I
talking
don't think
about
it's
something.
negligible, but that's fine. Go on.
No, and that'd be interesting to look into for sure.
Yeah.
To actually do the math behind it and then see what the difference is. Kind of like the reflection stuff where it's 0.04 degrees difference, pretty negligible. I would expect the same type of results.
Look,
with
dude,
the drone
you've got
and,
bigger
the
problems.
sun.
You made up the cause to the sun's effect without an experiment. So you need to get busy, okay, with gravity, mass attracting mass. You need to show the cause to the sun disappearing, because if it's curvature, you're going to have to show geometrically that the horizon is in that position tomorrow. So when this, let me finish.
I do not need to do
Let me
that.
finish now here. So let's say the sun disappears at the horizon. Now, however far that is, how far is the horizon that the sun set? Let's say you say, no, but I'm just going to make up a number. Let's say you say 500 miles away, the horizon. And then tomorrow, will that sun set at the same horizon 500 miles away? That's what you'd have to show. That
Well, obviously, I would dispute 500. We could say 3 and 4 miles.
3 miles, whatever you want. So if you say 3 miles, the sunset is going down at 3 miles, you have to show that horizon is the same tomorrow, the next day, and I can tell you it wouldn't be.
I would not have to do that. What I would have to do,
because
what I would have to do
let me
is
finish.
perform the same
You didn't let me get
experiment
to make
under
my point
different
here. Because if what you're saying is, let's say, for example, let's say the black swan image that I posted, let me give it you again. Let's say, for example, the sun went down behind the left image, right? And that horizon was 2 miles away, and the sun went down behind. And you said, look, it's going down. I stand up, the sun disappears again. Look, my drone, look at my drone. And I say, okay, what? The horizon's then what? How far? You say, look, it's only 3 miles away. And I say, well, okay, tomorrow, get your drone, get the sun, and replicate the same. You say, well, hold on, actually, the horizon's moved. My drone now is looking further. Now what?
You're
do
right.
you do? Well, now what?
And
do you do?
what I'm going to do then
Mhm.
is that it's going to appear to set at a farther distance of a horizon,
Mhm.
and I'm going to bring it right back with
Mhm.
elevation.
But
That's
you just
exactly
measured.
what I'm going to do.
You just measured the left horizon at 3 miles, or this is a mile or so, and then the sun went down behind a mile horizon, distance horizon, and then tomorrow it goes over a horizon that's 10 miles away. How do you explain that?
Right, optics is fun. Optics and refraction.
So which was the real one then? Which was the so? What if someone did it? What if someone didn't know that you did your observation yesterday, and they did their observation tomorrow, and their starting point was the 10-mile horizon, and yours yesterday was the mile horizon. So which one did they go with?
Chemo, you made a huge mistake because watch this. No matter the level of refraction, the experiment with the drone bringing the sun back will happen every time, no matter the apparent horizon, no matter the refraction. It's going to happen every time consistently. Optics and refraction are fun that way.
We know that because the horizon's not physical. We accept that.
Right. So if your claim is that it's refraction and distance, how are we bringing it back under different refraction conditions? Does it matter? We just change the refraction conditions, but we can bring it back. So is that an explanation anymore? Fuck no, it isn't. Thank you.
We've just explained that when you go higher, things are brought down. Yeah? What you need to explain is if the sun goes over the horizon on the left, and we measure it to that horizon, and then tomorrow it goes down on the right, which geometry do we go with?
You can go with either one. The only experiment is that it's going over something physical to block it, and then once it's out of view, you raise an elevation and it's brought back. The apparent horizon could be 3 miles. The apparent horizon could be 3 miles. The apparent horizon could be 10 miles.
Put the weapon on the floor and say that again slowly. I can go with whatever horizon I want and do calculations from that.
You can go with whatever apparent horizon you want. The experiment is strictly bringing the sun back behind something that's blocking it. In this case, the apparent horizon. Whether that apparent horizon is 3 miles away or 10 miles away, what we're going to experience is it disappearing completely, and then with the elevation raised, it's going to be brought back. That's all that's happening.
I'm not arguing that it's disappeared. we're talking about what is obstructing it. Is it the Earth, the physical Earth, or is it just a
It is the physical horizon.
Where is it?
It's wherever the sky meets the
where
horizon.
is, where
ground,
is the physical?
water.
Where is that physical obstruction that we can measure to?
Where the sky meets the water, over the ocean, where the sky meets the water.
So look,
that is where the physical obstruction of the horizon will occur.
So does it when you
Well,
say
it shouldn't
physical?
be able to change then.
Hold on. When you say physical,
It can
when
change.
you say
What you can't
physical
change is geometric
biofuel,
horizon.
when you say physical, do you mean physical? We can measure and touch it.
Physical, as in it's going to block you from seeing.
Does that
other
mean
physical
we can
objects.
touch it? We can measure to it? Is that the same meaning?
I don't see the problem with measuring to it. No.
Like if there's a wall a mile away, a physical wall, I can measure from my standing point to the physical wall. Say 100 meters. Tomorrow it's 100 meters. The next day it's 100 meters. Is it physical like that?
No, that would be like a geometric.
So
wall,
it's not
I guess you could
geometric.
say. In this
That's what
context, it'd be a geometric wall.
Yeah. So is the obstruction that's covering
Right.
the bottom of those platforms, is it the same as the wall?
In this context, no, because we established they are geometric walls. What I'm saying is that it's going to be a physical apparent horizon.
All right. So the same.
No, if you ask me a question, I'm going to
You
answer
just answered it. So if I've got a wall and I'm standing behind it and I'm obstructed my legs, that's a physical obstruction, physical measured obstruction. If I go behind that water obstruction, is it the same obstruction?
Yes, it is a
So I can
physical
measure to
thing
that.
blocking you of another physical thing.
But can I measure to that?
Physical chemo?
Can I measure to that physical
Are the
block?
oil platforms?
Can I measure to that physical horizon?
I don't see why you can't. I'm sure it'd be complicated, but I don't see why you could not.
How do I do it?
Complicated.
How do I
don't
do
know.
it?
That's a good question.
If I
We're
got
not
if I
answering
see
that
if I
right
see
now.
a wall a mile away, I just take a tape measure and just measure from me to the wall. Yeah, or I can take a car and drive and just take the distance. If I'm in the water, I get. But how will I make sure that that obstruction is there tomorrow, like the wall?
Oh no, for an apparent horizon, there's no guarantee that it's going to be in the same spot each day.
That's what I'm asking
you
you.
just talked about the physical horizon. Why is this so complicated?
No, because you guys are confusing geometric horizon with physical horizon. Those are two different things. Well, they could be the same thing, but because we have an atmosphere,
What's
they
the
are two different
difference?
things.
Well, what's the difference between the geometrical and the physical one?
Yeah, what is the
Geometric horizon is assuming no atmosphere, and you can measure where the geometric horizon would be. But because we have an atmosphere, we will always have some type of percentage of refraction, meaning the horizons that we see are only apparent.
Whoa,
but they're
slow
still
down,
physical
slow
and
down. Do
capable
you
of
want me to
having
understand this
physical
or not?
properties.
Whoa, are you in a rush or something? So the geometrical horizon, does that obstruct anything?
I assume it would, but I have no way to test that because we have an atmosphere.
So the geometrical one may obstruct things. So the physical horizon does what?
What do you mean does what?
Because
it's an apparent horizon with
you
physical
said the
properties to
wall.
block the,
You said the wall is geometrical when it obstructs me. Yeah, the wall, a
nope.
physical wall.
In the context that you were giving, because it had a fixed position forever, always 100 meters, always and forever, no matter what.
Yeah,
that would be in the context of our conversation a geometric.
That's
wall.
geometric. So is that physical also?
Yeah, it is.
Physical obstruction and a geometrical obstruction. Yeah.
In that context, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got in that context. Yeah, you got the observer, you got the wall, someone behind it. They're being blocked halfway. So this is geometrical and physical. Yeah.
In that context, yes.
Okay. So now the platforms, they are obstructed by what? Is it something physical or
by an apparent physical horizon?
An apparent. What does that mean? Apparent physical.
If I have to explain it, every few sentences, I'm just going to stop
explaining. You've got to slow it down.
Have I not explained what a physical horizon is, and have I not explained what an apparent horizon is?
No, you said apparent physical. What does apparent physical mean?
I'm only saying apparent physical because you are trying to dissect it so far.
Mm-hmm.
How about this? I'm going to say apparent horizon from now on, and just know that I'm implying the physical properties to it.
Well, what do you mean, physical or apparent? Are they both the same or what?
An apparent horizon will cover physical objects, preventing you from seeing them fully, or at all, depending.
So the wall that's obstructing me, that is physical, not apparent.
Well, it would still be apparent. It would be probably in this context apparent, geometric, and physical.
So it's
all
not
at the same time.
so it's not actually blocking the bottom of me from your perspective. The wall. So if I've got a wall that's a mile away, and you can only see the top half of me, is it not really obstructing the bottom half? It just looks that way, but not in reality. It's not. In fact, you could shoot the bottom of my legs because there's no wall really there. But there is.
All right. So first of all, you said you're behind a wall, but now we can shoot your legs because
that's what I'm asking. Is it apparent? Is it physical or apparent? Is it apparent as in real or not real? What do you mean when you say apparent? Is it really there or not really there?
Do you think apparent means like a ghost or fake? Apparent just means what you can see.
Your definition of it. What do you mean?
We all know what it means. Is this the first time you're hearing what an apparent horizon is?
Okay, so look, hold on, check it out. So the sky is meant to meet the surface. Does the sky really touch the ground?
No, he's heard it 100 times.
Does the sky, Bio? Does the
There's
sky?
nothing new about this conversation.
Bio, you see those
Other
clouds?
than the fact that it's going into hour number 3. That's
So,
what's
Bio,
new about it.
those clouds, are they
Hour
really
number 3 of
touching?
the same goddamn mind-numbing nothingness.
So, Bio, those clouds, are they really touching the horizon, touching the ground? The sky, is it really does it just appear that way?
The sky appears to, yes.
No, but is it actually touching the ground?
What, the sky? Of course. The atmosphere is touching the ground at all times, everywhere.
So the clouds are touching the ground?
No, they can appear to touch the ground.
But it's not actual then, yeah?
A cloud on the ground? Not unless it was like in the mountains or something.
In the mountains, is that on the ground?
Oh, fuck's sake. Are clouds the entirety of the sky?
No, but I'm just saying.
I think we're getting to a point where we're grasping.
No, we're not. Of course we're not. We're getting to a point where we're getting to a point where re-educated.
Very, very fucking simple.
We're getting to a point where your re-education is causing a lot of pain.
Spend an hour and a half on it, maybe.
So look, the apparent horizon doesn't mean that it's physical, BioJewel. Yes. So when I'm behind a wall,
I would disagree.
When I'm behind a wall, a real physical wall, that's not apparent. I'm actually behind it, and you actually can't see my legs.
No, it could be apparent. Why couldn't it be apparent?
Well, how are you going to see my legs through the wall?
What do you think apparent means?
I've just told you, like, it looks like the clouds or the sky is touching the ground, but it's not actually doing it. Like, you have the sun in your ball, where you see the actual sun and the apparent sun. The actual sun has already set, and the apparent sun is the sun that you see when it's set. So when you see the sun set, you're not even looking at the actual sun, Bio, in your model. Yeah, you understand that? Bio, do you understand that?
I don't know. I don't know how far in that field.
I know you're getting re-educated. I know it hurts, but the actual sun.
It doesn't.
I know it hurts. What hurts is. Don't panic.
You know what
don't
hurts
spiral.
is the
stay
inability
calm. Stay
for
focused.
you to make a good point.
Stay focused. Let's look at what we're saying. The actual sun is not the physical sun that you see because it's already set beyond the horizon. Yeah, in your model. When we're talking about actual and physical and apparent, we know that the horizon is not physical like the wall that I've been describing. That
it is physical.
It is physical. That's what you're saying, yeah? So it's not apparent, it's physical.
I've said it like 7 fucking times, and physical can be apparent. Apparent can be physical. They are not mutually exclusive.
Exactly. Show me how my wall can be apparent. If I measure it...
Because you can apparently see it. That's how.
If I measure it 1 mile, I've got the distance, how can that now be not that distant?
Because you can still apparently see it, making it apparent.
It means
you need to be careful. You need to be careful here, Chemo. It's not the sun that's apparent; it's its position that's apparent, not the actual sun itself.
Position is not, yeah. So it's not really there now. It's in another position, yeah. The actual position.
Oh, yeah, the sun is actually somewhere. Its position is apparent, but that doesn't mean the sun is not real.
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah,
I'm not
we
saying
get
that.
it.
Not saying that. Not saying that. I'm saying that
We're looking 8 minutes in the past.
You got it. So you understand the difference now between the actual wall and the apparent wall. Like, for example, when people see a mirage, they say, "Oh, look, there's like a pond in the desert and water, a dune or something. They can get. It's not actually there. Apparently, they thought it was there, but it turns out it was just a mirage. Yeah.
So when you see an apparent horizon, there is no water there. Is that what you're saying?
Apparent horizon is
pretty
just,
weak analogy, right?
Well,
pretty weak.
we're just re-educating and showing you that the apparent horizon.
No, pretty weak analogy, right?
Means that the clouds are not really touching the ground. Right. Yeah. When you see clouds,
I never made that claim.
It's not an apparent horizon, Chemo. It's an apparent position of the horizon, just like the sun. There's no such thing as an apparent horizon. It's its position that's apparent.
Go.
The horizon is still a real thing.
There you go. You see, so you've got the horizon. We can see it, but it's not really in the position that you think it's in. So when you try to measure it,
but it's still a real thing, isn't it? It's still a real thing.
We can see
to have a horizon like that, the precursor is, of course, a real blockage, a real obscuring of the light by the Earth.
Then why are you guys unable to predict where the horizon is? Say, when I wake up tomorrow,
given all the values of the right variables, we certainly could predict it.
No, that's not what's going on.
So it's just
This is the issue here. In case you haven't been listening for the last couple hours.
I said, in case you didn't listen, given all the right variables, we could predict where it is. Did you listen?
My man, I'm in the conversation. Did you miss it?
And so am I. Did you listen?
This guy.
Whammer, to be fair, we can ask the same question of you.
Oh, you're always in the
can you
bad
make a
mood
prediction about the horizon, blah, blah, blah. So we can make the same question. It's moot.
No, it's not. You're busted, BioGeo. You've got a lot of work to do. You've got.
No, I don't. No, you have no explanations that I didn't debunk right here.
Another problem I've got with this whole sort of explanation, Bio, is the fact that if what we're saying, this refraction thing was such a big issue and blah blah blah, then sunset sunrise times would not be as fucking accurate as they are.
You've got a lot of experiments to conduct here, Bio. You need to show that the obstruction.
If you were going with the angular resolution limit and the radius that you see around you, that would work, because we're talking about the limitation of your eye when it comes to how far you can see, versus you guys who think the furthest you can see is a spherical edge. Which it isn't, because it isn't calculable within your model.
One question. How big is the sun?
Well, that's unknown. Nobody knows.
No one knows.
Then how can you say it's a problem of angular resolution?
Because of the atmosphere acting like a lens.
No. Did you know what I just said? I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the other guy who said, well, predicting the horizon would be a problem on the flat Earth. I said no, because it has to do with your eyeballs, regardless of what you're standing on. But you missed my point, and I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah, I realised that. I mean, all I'm saying is the fact that to calculate the horizon, we do it on our geometric
you just
shape.
Strawman me, right?
No, I wasn't strawmanning you. You were talking about the sun disappearing due to angular resolution. How can you say that?
No, we're talking about what we can see within our field of view. I'm not talking about measuring something in the sky that we've never been to, that we would actually know the actual size to get the apparent size of.
I understand that, Triple. I mean, what I was saying is, though, you can't say then it's a property of angular resolution because you don't know the size of the object you're dealing with. So you're making an inference that you don't have the data to support. That was the point that I was making.
Look, we've been asked for solutions to replace your curvature. Okay? So we're trying to help you. We're trying to come up with ideas to explain obstructions. We know it's not because of the curvature. Because obviously...
Yes,
we know
obstruction is easy to explain. It's something in the way of the light. That's what obstruction is, Chemo.
Yeah, but I'm saying that it's not a physical obstruction like Bio is trying to say. right?
Then what would it be if it's not physical?
That's what we're trying to discover, right? We're trying to explore these options.
No, you made the claim. What is it?
That's what I said. We're all on the same page here. None of us know exactly what's going on when it comes
No,
to...
we're not on the same page at all. We need you to explain what kind of obstruction is it if it's not physical.
Well, like I just said, if we know it's not of curvature, there's been many... I mean, look at that list.
But you don't know that. You haven't come up. You don't know that. You haven't come up with any other explanation. You haven't given us any alternative. So don't say that you know it's not that.
He doesn't. Hold on. He doesn't have to have an explanation if you don't know. You don't come up with explanation.
He has to have a reason. He has to have a
independent.
No, he has to have a reason for. He has to have a reason for why he claims it's not a physical obstruction.
This is what we've been talking about for the last 3 hours.
And you haven't been able to provide a reason why it's not physical obstruction.
No shit.
Agreed.
It's not physical obstruction because it's not mathematically predictable to be there. So as far as
something has to be mathematically predictable to be physical, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, because that's what it says in your model. When you get the formula for the distance to the horizon, that's exactly what that is.
What? So you're telling me that if something's not mathematically predictable, it's not physical? That's an absolute ridiculous position to take.
First of all, mathematics is not actual, it's abstract. Number one. But that's your problem, not mine, isn't it?
Not really.
Always geometry.
So anyway, like you said, like I said, the model says that that horizon is a predictable distance away, but that's not what we see. So that's why
yes, it is what we see. 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 If yes, it is what we. Are you going to keep interrupting? Yes, it is what we see if we are given the correct variables to completely calculate it.
Can't be calculated, Paul,
Predict the next radioactive decay. You can't predict it mathematically, at least not beyond a certain accuracy.
The Earth has to be curving in the first place for you to make those kind of predictions. So it doesn't matter what you say about your predictions, you can't get it right because, like I say, you have to have a certain amount of curvature to predict the rate of light bending, which, again,
you're just circling. So I think we should end and give it to everyone else. We have been talking for a while, to be fair. So I'll
well, a soccer ball and everything has a certain size to it, right? And it doesn't change.
I used to have
basketballs.
I'm sorry that I talked for no, it wasn't a problem. It was an interesting discussion. I thought you made some really good points.
All right, Dress, we're moving forward now.
Allow it to be pivoted around all over the place.
Got time for the analysis.
I appreciate it, but I'm going to step away. I'll listen. Good luck, guys.
Don't forget what you've got to do, though, Bio. Right? You said that you're going to show mass attracted mass in a vacuum. Never been shown before. You think you've seen it before. You think you're going to produce it. And you said if you don't get these results, like if you do it, and it fails, you're going to concede that mass attracted mass is made up, not a thing. So you've got a very short time because we're not going to wait and hang around for you to keep saying, well, you know, this is closed, I can't get here. If it's true, you'll be able to show it. If it's false, you're going to delay it, right?
Any evidence of an edge? Any evidence of a dome?
Any evidence of a regulation size Earth? Regulation size balls, right? Like a regulation size beach ball. Why don't we have a regulation for our Earth?
Anybody got a decent experiment that can be done that is actually possible within the globe Earth model that we can use to test it?
To show a globe? We've been waiting for that. That's what we've been waiting for. You guys to show us it's a globe somewhere.
Yeah, that's an unreasonable request.
Foolish.
To show a globe on a globe that's a globe, to be a globe?
Foolish.
That's kind of odd.
That's a little unfair, Foolish, to say it has to be done within the globe model. Now, you got to be able to do it within a model.
That's true. I agree with that. But if you're trying to falsify something, or confirm, or get more correlation,
like a globe that doesn't exist.
Conclusion. then you have to take the environment you're in. So it's
Flat
saying,
everything
create
everywhere.
a vacuum chamber in open atmosphere without any walls containing it and no forces acting upon it. Well,
We don't need none of that
so
bullshit pseudoscience for
it's the
flat
same
Earth.
thing as
We don't
asking
need
to,
no
you know,
excuses.
create
Sit
a
the car
beachable
down and it
world
works.
in our gravity well.
Sit the boat
I mean,
on the
it's just a
flat water and it
stupid
works.
request.
We don't need any crazy dumb shit you guys got going online about making
So I
us.
think Demok's just droning on, talking under me. So
No, I'm just telling you the flat Earth
Yeah,
doesn't need none of your pseudoscience bullshit. Doesn't need gravity.
Chemo, you should be muting this asshole. He's not. He's not.
Well, we should have a
he's not talking over
regulation-sized
people.
globe.
We do.
Like a regulation-sized ball, right?
We do.
Where's it at? We'll put the mailbox in the
It's
curve.
been presented to you all the time.
No, I
It's
said
there.
put
You
the
just don't
mailbox in the
he
curve.
wants like an Airfix model, you know, held together with glue that he can physically hold in his hand. He doesn't understand.
Well, all you
actually
guys
what
can
model
produce is a flat model.
And a
The
model
only
is a
thing you've ever
description,
produced
that's
is
all a
flat
model
models.
is. Now I can use a physical
When the
description, like
government
a scaled
makes a
airplane,
model,
or I
they
can
make a flat
describe
one.
it in a model in words and
When
numbers,
archaeologists,
both of which are models,
architects,
and he's got the thing
scientists,
that he wants this
they all
thing
make
to be
flat models.
like totally three-dimensional and
Engineers,
representative. He
when they
doesn't
make
have
models
any
of the
courtesy
city,
to let me finish my
they're
point
flat.
without contextually
Guys,
talking.
please stop it. Doesn't help Bizarre if you're gonna, you know, deal with what he's
Druss.
doing
It was
by
Druss.
doing
It was
by
Druss.
doing the same thing.
It was Druss, not Bizarre. Bizarre's not
Sorry,
even here.
Druss, I meant.
Yeah, I was just about to. I was in the kitchen. He does it every single time, just to like. I don't know what point he's trying to make. I'm gonna just waffle on, even though other people are talking, and he just. I don't know what he's trying to achieve.
You're talking about Demok, right?
Well, you know what Denmark's like, and what the idea is just to
that doesn't excuse it.
Well, then
No, it is a total pain in the ass.
And what it doesn't need is Druss to make it even worse.
Right, just duplicating the thing that is pissing you off doesn't help.
The point is to get somebody to do something about it.
He's literally only just started speaking, hasn't he?
Started speaking, doing the exact same thing he always does.
He was on
It's
his.
an
He was on
indication
his
that he will do it
first.
continuously.
He was on his first sentence.
Now a third.
Anyway, yesterday I kicked him. So don't tell me we don't do anything.
I'm not saying you don't do it. It's just it takes so long.
Well, that's the nature of it.
I don't have an objection to it, and I'll try not to overtalk Demok, because I don't think that's a reasonable thing to do. But I would also ask him to respect the fact that if I'm in the middle of a sentence, let me finish.
You're intolerably tolerant.
I'm annoyingly tolerant.
Yeah, Demok, is he still here? I thought you might have got a message yesterday.
I didn't
But
talk
this-
over him. I didn't hear him. I didn't hear him talking.
This behavior is unacceptable, and we put up with it a lot, but you are not behaving how most of the people here behave. You know,
I tried to get in.
You're disrupting conversations by just continually talking and preventing people from responding to you deliberately. So please stop it, Dan. Please.
I tried to get in the middle, and then they like, as soon as I try to get in, it's like 5 people jump on me, so it seems like I'm jumping on them, I think, too.
All right. Well, any effort in this direction would be appreciated. Thank you all. Okay, back to the fight.
Why would
Say
they lie?
something stupid, Chemo.
Well, we're about to get into. I mean, we've already tried to get experiments on the table, so now I guess it always goes back to why would they lie? That's a question that's always asked. I heard yesterday you were asking Jeremy why would they trick us? It's kind of the same thing. Trick us, why would they lie? Same kind of thing. The point is we don't have any experiments, and until we have those experiments, it's just on paper. It's no different. I think even in 24/7 we were discussing it's exactly the same as any religion, because you've got priests, you've got scripture of some kind, you've got worshippers, followers. Very similar. You've got like like miracles, things that are wondrous, that's supposed to have happened, like traveling throughout space and cosmos, and that would be like a wow. That's a miracle if you can do that. If you can fly in a vacuum without a container, that's a miracle, right? If you can have gas, all of your things.
It's a miracle to you. It's not a miracle to anyone.
Miracles, they really are. They're all miracles. If you can show.
Only to you, they're not a miracle to me. They're not a miracle to a person who understands them.
No.
Well, again, walking on water. If you understand that, if you become light, like within, then that's not a big deal, right? But obviously, seeing that and actually being light, actually walking on water.
Yeah, but we don't actually have any examples of people walking on water, do we?
That's my point, Paul. Is that it's on paper, right? And the same.
The point is that we do have. The point is we do have examples of people traveling in space, don't we?
No, that's a miracle, Paul. That's a miracle. You see?
Oh, we do. We have those examples, but just the fact that you don't accept them doesn't make them any less real.
We have examples of people living today who we can talk to, who've seen it, who've witnessed other people doing it.
Again, miracles. Sounds like Jesus walked on water and somebody saw it. We have witnesses that seem
Do we?
die.
Do you have any of those eyewitnesses' testimony, firsthand?
Well, I mean, again, let's say in 10 years when Buzz dies,
We can do it.
when Buzz dies, all the astronauts die who went on the moon. Then what? How will we know? That's the point you're asking me.
Okay, there'll be new people there by that time.
Oh,
Yeah. Is that a repeatable observation, Chemo?
Going to the moon? No, that's the point. We haven't been back there. Man hasn't been back.
No, Jesus walking on water. I was talking about Jesus walking on water. Is that a repeatable observation?
No. I was saying, look, Paul. I said to Bio this morning earlier on. It's been done in the past. We don't need to repeat it again and again and again. It's been done. According to you guys, your experiment has been done.
So like the moon.
No, you're saying to me, you just said to Denmark here, it's been done. We've shown you, it's been done. Now, we could say it the same. Our witnesses have seen Jesus die, raised
and it will be done in the future as well.
No, that's the difference, Paul. That's the difference.
It wasn't finished. It wasn't finished.
All right.
It will be repeated. It will be repeated again and again, won't it?
Well,
it's not just been done. It's being done, and it will be done in the future as well.
That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. Go ahead, Whammer. Go ahead.
No, he's just.
Whammer's just going to say no.
It's just not true what you're saying. We want to see.
Yeah, there we go.
We want to see you guys actually prove this stuff to us, and you just can't do it.
You prove Jesus walking.
No, it's been done, work. It's been done. Don't you get the point of what we're saying here? Now, I'm not saying that everyone can go along with this. I'm just saying the idea is...
The documentation, there's a whole lot of information, contemporary speaking of it.
Moya, we've got the same. We've got the same. We've got witnesses. We've got religious people. Moya, we've got the same thing.
You have one source.
No. There are thousands of... Look, there were witnesses who saw Jesus do what he did. Yeah?
Is there a story of people who say there were witnesses?
Exactly. The same thing you have got. A story, you are saying somebody saw something, witnessed something somewhere.
No, we've got people. We've got people that actually have done the experiment. We've got people that are doing the experiment, and we've got people that will do the experiment in the future.
Well, we hope so. We hope so because
and is doing similar experiments, not the exact experiment. There's also similar ones.
I'm rooting for Bio here because I'm one of the few guys who ask you for this experiment, okay? And I'm sure once we see mass attracting mass, it's going to be amazing, right? Because I've never seen it before. You've never seen it. We've never seen it. To see two objects move to one another without magnets or something.
You can speak for yourself. Don't put words to our mouth. Don't tell us that we haven't seen it because we have.
No, you haven't seen mass attracting mass. Come on.
Sure.
Yeah, I have. I have.
No, that is a miracle. Again, if you ever saw that, that would be a miracle. We're talking reality.
Not really.
Yes, Paul.
Where have you seen it at? Other than a made-up idea of something. Like, have you seen it in 20 different examples every day of your life?
Pretty much.
Hello? Where at? Show us live.
Every time something falls to the ground, that's mass attracting mass, isn't it?
So hold on, let me ask then.
Try
Hold on,
side to
Paul,
side.
can I ask then?
What are you telling me that those two masses aren't attracted together, and yet we
No,
can
they're
measure a
not.
force between them?
Paul.
No, they're not.
Paul.
And no, you can't measure anything.
All right, then let me just ask a second. when the apple fell, is the apple being pulled, or is the earth and the apple moving towards one another? What's going on, Paul? Is the apple being pulled?
Yeah,
What? Which one?
they're moving towards each other.
It's not being pulled just by the earth.
It's being pulled by the earth, and the earth is being pulled by the apple.
Yeah, so that's not Newtonian then, is it? That's the bending of space-time, right?
Sure it is. Of course it is. It's both.
But you've got a larger mass. How can the smaller mass pull on the larger mass?
That's the way that gravity works.
Well, not when it comes to gas particles.
Get in there, Elijah.
Exactly the
Get in,
same
Elijah.
gas particle, no different.
Well, do
Work
magnets
up the
pull on
beast
each
now.
other, or does one magnet pull the other?
Because if mass really attracted mass, then balloons wouldn't go up.
I'm sure they would.
Roy, hold on. He's talking to Paul. Let Paul. Let Elijah get. Let Elijah get it.
Oh, fuck you, Jim.
If mass didn't attract mass, there wouldn't be a buoyancy effect, would there? And the buoyancy is what makes the balloon go up.
That's an equivocation, because now you're saying, well, in this special instance, the opposite of what I'm saying happens. No, that doesn't make sense.
You're not saying that at all.
No, there's nothing special about that. I'm not saying that at all.
Well, then, what I'm saying is, if mass attracts mass and gas is made of mass, then, like the small apple, the smaller particle should just drop to the floor, but it doesn't.
That's a straw man, because that's not what should happen.
What do you mean it's not what should
You
happen?
just said that's what should happen.
It's a straw man.
It's not mass
straw man.
How is it a straw man?
That is not what we would predict.
You
How
just
is it a
said
straw
that
man?
the Earth and the damn thing were falling towards each other. You just said that.
An apple is not a gas molecule, is it?
Oh, now they got special excuses. Tell us another excuse.
No. What I'm saying is, gas is made of mass, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Well, what?
Well, show us the mass attract the mass, son.
Well, that's why the atmosphere stays on Earth.
What is it? Show us that.
That's why I feel bad, Elijah.
Show us a ball with an atmosphere stuck to it in a vacuum chamber, please.
You want me to show you something over the internet?
I want you to show you anything. I want you to show me anything you're talking about.
So you're just going to get interrupting me again, are you?
Yeah, because you're repeating yourself to a retarded sentence. You want me to show? Yeah, you're repeating that sentence.
And you interrupted it, Dan.
Show me it in a
You
vacuum.
interrupted it, Dan, to repeat yourself.
He was repeating himself. What's the point?
You interrupted him to repeat yourself.
Okay, cupcake. That helped everybody really a lot.
Well, don't interrupt people to tell them that they're repeating themselves with a repeat of what you just said.
Well, they
Just
should
let
do what
them
I'm
say
asking
what they've
instead of
got to say.
repeating their sentence. Well, they should do the experiment live.
Well, that's idiotic and ridiculous.
To do an experiment and to prove what you're talking about, repeatable and testable.
Do it live
Yeah,
on
so
this
is your globe.
Discord now is ridiculous. Yes.
Yeah, put your camera on, turn it on, and show us what the fuck you're talking about.
Do it at
or else
any
stop
time.
making it up.
Whenever.
Anytime. Do it tomorrow. Do it next week. I'll give you a week.
Prove the Earth's flat. Show me
Pull
the
it up.
I'll give
experiment
you a
that proves
week.
the Earth's flat. Do it now.
Oh no!
Do it now.
All you
live.
boys,
Do it now.
is that how you prove a globe? So that's how you show what you were just discussing with gravity holding an atmosphere to a ball, right? That's how you do it, by asking us for flatness.
Well-
That's how you give us your demonstration of globes.
No, not at all. No, I'm
Well,
pointing
hurry
out.
up and show us your non-demonstration of a non-globe anywhere.
Right now, be quiet. I'm pointing out to you how absurd your demand that this is demonstrated to you live now is by asking you for the same thing.
Well, give us.
It's
Been 8
absurd,
years, Jim.
it's
I've
silly.
never seen it.
Okay.
And stop it. This is
I
a
haven't
place
seen
for
it
a
in 8 years,
conversation.
Jim. What are you talking about?
Shut up.
Well,
This
there's
is a
also a
place.
back chat you can put video in too,
This
right?
is a
Put your
place for a
video.
conversation.
Put your
not
evidence.
not a place for people to do live demonstrations of.
Can I respond to
So
you?
stop
Why
asking
can't you
for
put
that.
videos in the side chat?
Can I respond to you,
Nobody's
Jim?
ever done that anywhere ever in Discord.
Can I respond to you,
Stop
Jim?
pretending
Well, stop
it's a
explaining
thing.
it's possible then. Then stop saying it's possible if you've never been able to do it.
And no one has.
No.
and you're
Can I
right.
respond to you, Jim?
Saying it's not
Do you want to
convenient.
go back and forth with Denmark and repeat yourself, or do you want to have a
Saying
meaningful
it's not
conversation?
convenient for me to do it here in Discord is not the same as it not being possible to do it. They're two different things. Try and recognize the difference. Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't be bothering with Denmark. It's just he says that stupid shit every day, and it's just annoying. Go ahead.
Give us a source for when it has been. Also linking the demonstration from when it has been done. Surely this has to have been documented somewhere.
There's lots of demonstrations of what we're on. Gravity, is it? I don't remember what we're talking about.
Me either, to be honest.
We're talking about an atmosphere sticking to a ball in a vacuum. Can you show that?
Do you believe that Venus is out there?
Yes, but yeah, easily.
Do you believe you can show us what you're talking about ever?
Look at the sun.
Do you believe
Well,
Venus
make
is
one
out
on
there?
Earth.
Yeah, we're on about gravity. So what I
Do you
asked...
believe you can
If
present
you look to
anything you're
Venus,
talking
you
about,
see an
guys?
atmosphere on a ball. In
Yeah,
vacuum
nice
state.
story.
No problem.
So we were asking about...
Well, it sounds like a good story.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just
That is
asking about,
ignorant.
is the apple being pulled? Is the earth pulling the apple? Is the apple pulling the earth?
Both.
Yeah, so what we'd like to know then, if the
when-
gas is...
yeah.
Go on,
What you like to know?
Yeah. To that point of the apple and if the gases do that, well, here we have a sun and other gas planets like Jupiter, right? Like you claim that they're just spheres of dense gas. Well, again, can you demonstrate this?
Well, you can, in the case of Jupiter, you can look at it and you can see clouds of stuff moving around. So, I mean, what is that if it's not gas?
Yeah, but what the medium
That
is
doesn't mean it's in a
Rolling rock.
How
Does it
would
mean
those
it's what?
clouds exist with gravity, Jim, pulling everything towards the center of itself of mass?
I didn't hear his response.
Elijah.
Yeah, that
think
doesn't
it's
mean
rolling
that
rock.
doesn't mean what you're looking at is a vacuum. What I'm asking for is
Now you go closer to your mic.
A bit low, Lige.
still clutter.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, we know it is a vacuum. So
No. It can't be a vacuum because there's no container, Jam. Point here. That is very important.
that's your totally unfalsifiable and unscientific claim that you keep making. But
It's a difference between two mediums. The action of a vacuum as you go from one to the other. It's not a vacuum out there. And how can the sun be hydrogen and helium fusing together and emitting and putting off all this bullshit when gravity's supposed to be pulling that shit towards it?
yes, that is why it works.
You just keep doing the opposite, right? So your gravity does the opposite anytime you need it to, but then anytime we ask about it, it's doing the opposite of that. It's just convenient. Your excuses and your stories you guys have been working on for the last thousands of years.
when
You know,
did it do
why
the
would they lie?
opposite? What are you
What is
talking
opposite?
about?
When have you ever
When did
demonstrated
gravity do the
anything? When have you demonstrated a vacuum with gravity, with atmosphere, with the ball, with water, with time? Has there ever been a no?
I'm telling you how you can just go and
for
observe
a
it.
demonstration of anything that you're
It is
talking
a
about.
demonstration.
Any of it. Pick
Yes.
your own part.
I've detailed a demonstration. I've told you.
With what?
I
Talking to
told
us?
you that.
Yeah, good story.
I told you that you can look at Jupiter.
Yeah, Jim told us how the universe works.
Damn,
That's
I'm
cool.
talking. I told you that we can look at Jupiter and we can see clouds of stuff moving around. Okay, that's a demonstration. How?
You told me is a demonstration.
Yeah.
Well, fuck what you told me. I told you that's bullshit.
Okay.
That's my
Okay,
demonstration.
well, that's a great response, but it's it doesn't
Right.
really.
Well, yours is bullshit. Now where do we go?
When you're standing in the face of millions of photographs of Jupiter that people have taken,
And they're all bullshit. Where do we
Shut
go?
up! Shut up! Amateurs and professionals, mostly amateurs, I will point out, the vast majority of images of Jupiter would be taken by amateurs. When you're staring in the face of them, the millions of those images, and so that's bullshit, that will not be considered a very compelling response, Dan. I think you need to come up with more than
lights.
that.
Cool imaginated shit. You imaginate a fucking ball, you name it. Big deal. I got an ant named Harvey in the anthill. Good fucking for me. What's that prove?
Well, it proves that that you can't make a good argument, because clearly what I've just
proves you
talked
can
about,
name dots in the sky.
what I've just talked about is thousands of recorded observations, which you can easily just Google an image of those recorded observations. So
there's a million stars in the sky.
Again, your response.
Uncountable. And what do they do for
We're
you?
not talking about the million stars. We're talking
They're
about
uncountable.
pictures of Jupiter.
No, every dot out there.
So-
What's the difference from any of
So
them?
your
How
response
you-
is inadequate.
So
Again.
Jim is telling me by his voice that all the stars are different, what he says they are, and what this is and what that is. And I'm telling you that you're just looking at a piece of shit and you're naming it and giving it significance. Stop doing that.
Right, well, you can do that. Dan. You can say that, but it's just uncompelling, as I pointed out. It's just.
Well, so is yours.
Oh, really? It's pretty compelling.
I think that's where we are, though, Jem. Is
To make stuff up is not compelling. Go ahead, Sarkin.
as I was speaking with Bio Dual,
Pictures of Godzilla.
I think what it is that we were on a
These are
journey.
pictures of Godzilla, so like the pictures of the planet.
We were on a journey, you see.
Pictures of Godzilla.
And so,
these aren't pictures of Godzilla.
So what we're trying to do, we're trying to establish whether we have a religion or not. I mean, I want to know, I'm sure people want to know, everybody wants to know, are they following a religion or not? So like I say, Bio this morning is going to help us determine whether this is a religious idea or an actual idea that exists. So, yeah, we can have explanations, but it's not going to really tell us anything, right? I'm sure you can agree with that, Jem. If someone just tells you something, tells you and tells you and tells you,
comparable pictures of your flat Earth. They compare to our pictures we made from the universe.
But you've got to accept that we're in a Discord. There's only so many things that are practically possible for us to do. So the demanding of live experiments is silly. However, for me to point you to an observation that you can easily just go on Google. I mean, I'll get you the image if you really want me to. But, this is something that can just be seen. So I don't see why why some experiment is necessary so that you're able to observe something that you can just go and observe. I don't see why you need an experiment on top of the observation.
Well, because we are provided peer-reviewed, so-called peer-reviewed papers. So, I mean, you guys do kind of make an effort to back up certain claims, but we're asking for the same thing, but in the same breath, an actual presentation, a demonstration site. And so when Bio says, "Look, I have an experiment, but it's just a paper," I'm like, "That's not an experiment, dude. You've got to show what came with that paper." So,
Chemo, you got to accept that we're in a Discord and there's a limitation on live experiments. It's just silly to ask for live experiments. But what you can do is you can get pointed at observations, photographs, and other things that you can do yourself.
Yeah.
If it sounds like you might have heard this before, it's because I'm repeating exactly what Jim just told you, which you didn't address in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, I heard that.
And
We can
also,
take a
and
lot of
also,
pictures,
and
I
also, and also, Chemo, many papers are written records of experiments that have been done. And also, I'd like to take issue with your comment about explanations. Explanations certainly are compelling. Explanations are what we use to describe and show our understanding of why something happens. Explanations are very compelling.
Of course they are, but again, it has
Star
to be
in a jar. Now, you got a star in a jar that's made with sound, right? Liquid, right? So we could just say all those stars are just liquid and sound focused, right? And that's the only evidence you have that would be compelling. You can do it right on Earth and repeat that star in a jar, right? Can you make your stars on the Earth any other way?
Well, where are the jars? I look up, I see the stars, but I don't see the jars.
No.
And what's in the jar is what's in the jar is not a and what's in the jar is not a star.
Focused sound in the liquid.
Show me the jar, dude.
And they're mimicking it.
I'm looking up. I don't see any jars. You said it's
you want me to put the link in it for a star in a jar?
Where are all the jars, Tim? I don't see the jars.
No,
And
it's
it's not a
liquid.
star in the
Doesn't need to
jar,
be a
is it?
jar. Retard.
Star in the jar. You said.
No, the medium is the jar, idiot. The fucking jar is just holding the liquid, so the water can be focused on the air inside of it.
I don't see where the jar is, dude. I'm looking.
Well, listen. What I'm telling you is, I can show you a star in a jar on Earth. Can you show me your fucking star in a
Show me a star in the jar in space.
Can you recreate your bullshit on Earth now?
Some illumination.
Show me in space.
Show us the star in the jar. Let's see it.
Show you a bearing, Dave.
Hold on.
Live
It's a
demonstration.
video from the very beginning of Flat Earth. It's the star in the jar.
You can't show your brain in a jar.
It's non-luminescence.
This is gonna be CGI if he doesn't. He better do it live. If he doesn't do it live, it's not real.
It's non-luminescence. You guys have all seen it.
Oh, we've seen it. Then he can't be doing it live, can we?
It doesn't have the same properties as a star either.
Yeah, it's not a star just because they call it that.
Well, you
Somebody
could say
stupid
it's
also understand what's going on. Oh, I'm sorry, two people are too stupid to understand what's going on.
Does the star in a jar release X-rays and neutrinos?
Okay, so maybe that's a little bit acceptable. I mean, again, what we're looking for, because we've been told there's 500 years of science. You've proven it already. That means anyone born today, or born today, and they grow up, and then they're told it's a ball. They should be able to go to anywhere and look at the evidence because it's already there. Not like bio saying, well, hold on, let me go and do an experiment to prove what we think is true. Right? That's where we're at right now. We're still at the position where people are trying to back up what we've been told. So like I say, any new generation is going to want to know the truth and how they're going to find it out. Are they going to learn it in the same way that we were taught, by just being indoctrinated, or will they be given, actual experiments?
It's a two-step process. 1, have a point. 2, make it.
But I'm saying the new generation, the people that are born today, the next 10 years, how are they going to know that what you're saying
Stop
is true?
talking just to fucking talk, Timo.
That's all he does.
Well,
How will they know? I think they will use the same evidence that we've used. They will look
at that.
They will look at in this case photographs was my example, but the scientific experiments that support the proposition, I think we're on gravity still, roughly, aren't we?
Yeah.
And they will go with that evidence, I imagine.
They won't buy it because there were people like us saying, well, how do you verify it? That's never happened before. We were never told, hey, you better double check that before you accept it to be true, right? And that's what's happening right now. People are being told, hey, double check that, because that might not be true.
Right, so they will probably do that. Like, for instance, I know from my experience, I haven't done a Cavendish experiment, but I have dropped 2 objects in a vacuum to see if they fall at the same rate. So, things like that.
You've done that experiment?
Yeah, I have.
Things fall at the same rate?
Yeah.
Hold on. Have you had a sphere inside the vacuum and dropped them from the bottom and the top and the side?
We had a feather and a key.
No. Have you had a sphere inside that vacuum and everything dropped to it simultaneously from every direction, son, to show gravity, mass pulling mass? Don't give me your bull retarded fucking shit where it's one direction. You got your made up fucking ideas of what you're calling gravity. Stop interrupting me. Stop interrupting me.
You're just making
a
talk.
sphere
You can't have a
has
sphere in a
things
vacuum,
pulling
dude. You don't know what a vacuum
down, up, left, right, to the center of it. Correct? Evenly from every motherfucking portion on the outside. So when you have a vacuum chamber and you're just showing the bottom get something, that's not fucking right. You need to show a sphere in the middle of that. Pulling everything to the center. Yeah, because all you keep fucking talking.
Yeah, mute him. Denmark, you just had a GIF staring you in the face, right? Where you
Oh, come on then, big boy. Hit us with your killer argument.
Then who, you dum-dum, right? So,
He wants this sphere.
Denmark, Scott just said that you can't have sphere in a vacuum. I just wanted to point out the
Oh
irony.
yes,
of that
yes, good
statement.
one. Nice one, Beach. You can't have a sphere in a vacuum. We agree.
That's right.
That's right. You can't have it. Say it again, Beach. You can't have a sphere in a vacuum.
Say again. What? What do you want me to say?
What you just said about you can't have a sphere in a vacuum.
Well, you heard me, right?
Just dawned on you,
That's
right,
an excellent
Beach?
sound
Just dawned
bite.
on him,
Well,
like.
no, it's true. You can't have a sphere in a vacuum.
Ah, okay. Excellent. We agree. You cannot have a sphere in a vacuum.
Why not?
Yeah. You also, by the way, you also can't have a vacuum.
Exactly. You can't have a vacuum. Getting there.
But you can have a partial vacuum. You can have a partial vacuum.
With a container.
Spheres are okay in a partial vacuum.
In a container.
Or without
With a
a container.
container, yes?
Or without a container. Or without one. Either way.
Without a
You can choose
container.
how you want to do it.
That's the miracle we were talking about earlier on.
Really? You guys
The
are talking about
miracle,
that as
yeah.
a miracle?
But I've got a container.
Okay.
I evacuate it. I remove the container. No more vacuum. You're saying, no. I can create that vacuum without the container.
Yeah, you got to think about it like this. If you had a container in a container, and they both had vacuums,
Yep.
then if you remove the inner container, it'd still be a vacuum, wouldn't it?
Well,
I was thinking about it like
container. Yeah. Without that container.
that. The whole universe is being contained by the universe container.
There's a container. So we are contained, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's called the universe container.
That would explain then the pressure.
Sort of, except for the fact that there isn't pressure around the Earth. But if you find it compelling, you guys can believe
There
that.
isn't pressure around the. That's my point. I've been going with that. I mean, I think some of the flatties and some of the globers think there is pressure around the Earth.
Well, there's pressure immediately around the Earth, but not all
now
the way
there is
around
pressure
the Earth.
around the Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, well, not immediately. Immediately around the Earth, there's
Not
pressure, of
immediately
course,
around
because
the Earth.
otherwise we'd
So
be
there is
dead,
or there
right?
isn't. So there is
From
pressure. There isn't pressure.
There's exactly. It depends on how far away you are.
So without that container, it would be a miracle.
The universe container.
It would be a miracle, right?
I guess. The universe container is a weird thing, though. No one's ever seen it.
Hey, I'm not against
Sort
miracles.
of speculating on how it works.
People
Yeah.
are healed every single day through miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The universe exists every single day. That's a miracle.
Yeah. As long as you understand that that's what it is, the idea that a vacuum without a container is a miracle.
No, a vacuum without a container is fine.
On paper, yeah. On paper, we can write down vacuum without a container. That's mathematical. We can make some numbers up to support that. Absolutely. But again,
No, with time as a variable.
You can do anything you want on paper.
Exactly.
With time
You
as
see, Bio, are you listening to this? See, now this is a guy who
You can write down. You can write down the flat Earth is true.
He knows our arguments. He
You can
knows
say
our
flat Earth is
position.
true.
And
You can say
on
flat Earth is
paper,
true.
you can make
Yeah, you can
anything
put anything
you
you
want. But what we're looking
Chemo, if you think writing on a piece of paper and publishing scientific experiments that are peer reviewed
Stace.
and repeated by other people are the same thing, then you're completely ignorant about what that means.
Look, I'm just saying to you that you can hear Veach here agreeing with us. There's no pressure around the Earth, and then he kind of changed it. He said you
I
can't
don't
have a
agree with
sphere in a vacuum,
I don't.
which is what we agree with.
I do not agree with you.
So,
Why do you think I agree
and
with you?
anything on paper,
Why would you say I agree with you, Chemo? Why would you say I agree with you? when
I'm
you know
explaining it
disagreeing
now.
with you?
I'm explaining it now. So
Yeah,
on paper,
but you're misrepresenting me because you just said I agree with you.
I don't
and
think I
disagree
am
with you.
because I would
You
say-
agree with me. You agree with me.
Yeah, we agree with each other.
But
I wouldn't.
you agree that you can claim the
Let
flat
him
Earth is true, and it's
finish,
not necessarily
Veach.
true. I would like to finish my
I know, he
sentence.
wouldn't let me
Whammer.
finish, but it's fine.
Oh shit!
Fine.
Well, because he started out a sentence by saying a lie. Scott Veach agrees with me, and I disagree with him.
I was explaining.
What
Well,
am
you
I
asked me
supposed to do?
why, and I was explaining why. Then you still interrupted me. But carry on. Go ahead.
There's no way, because no matter what you say, I will disagree with it. That's my complete mode of existence is say something. Go ahead, say anything you want, and then
Fine.
I'm going to disagree.
I
with it. So
think
you
we're
can't
on the
say I
same
agree with it.
page.
Disagree.
I think we're on the same page. I think we are in agreement.
Disagree.
With vacuum needs a container. You described that. You said there's no pressure around the Earth. You said you can't have a sphere in a vacuum. I agree with all of that.
That's wrong. That's incorrect. That's
No, you
incorrect. I
changed
said
it.
there's nothing but pressure around the Earth. I said there's pressure everywhere, always.
Now
I said
there's
that
pressure.
You can always have a perfect vacuum. You can never not have a perfect vacuum. Basically, a perfect vacuum is the default state. And I said that you don't have a container anywhere. There's no such thing as a container around the universe.
All right, let's start again. So, can I have a vacuum without a container? You said yes, you can. The universe is contained. I said, well, that explains then where the pressure comes from. You said, well, there's no pressure. Then you said, well, there is pressure. If there's a container, that's where the pressure comes from. That's where we're at right now.
You're getting mixed up.
Maybe.
But you know what? I wanted to ask Whammer something because I just see he's back now. I went and saw this equilateral argument you were making before. I didn't really understand what you were saying. So I went and I watched, I guess, Orphan Red. Is that the argument you're making, the one she makes about equilateral triangles and the distance to the sun?
She brought it up. She spoke about it. Sure.
So I just watched the argument, and it doesn't make any sense at all, Whammer. Well, I mean, it only makes sense if you presuppose that you're on a flat plane.
Well, the thing is, sure, you could say that. I mean,
indeed,
it doesn't work really on a globe. I mean, if you do it on a globe, it doesn't really work. And that's one of her big points.
It works perfectly on the globe, but if
Did
it's
you
a flat
see
plane,
her
she'd be right.
explanation as to why
Yeah.
on a
I
globe
watched the
it
whole
doesn't
thing.
really work? Because of the.
It doesn't really say.
What do you
It
want to
doesn't really
talk
say why
or-
on the globe. She just says that it would work on a flat plane,
Oh, no,
or
she
she shows the flat plane.
No,
Go
she
ahead.
gets into it on the globe as well. There's a part 2 you didn't see.
Maybe I guess, but it works on the globe too.
No, there's a big issue there, and it gets
What's the issue?
into the shit. I forget what the term was, but it's about occurrence, and I forget the 2 terms, but there's 2 specific terms that basically.
What's the issue in general?
Well, the idea is that on a globe, it doesn't. It basically doesn't line up. So it would.
Why not?
Well, you have to watch what she says. She explains it.
But if you think, well, if you just think about it, though, it obviously would line up because if you imagine you have these sticks or whatever these angles that she's talking about, all you have to do is start imagining that flat plane bending into a globe, and at some point, both of those positions are going to pass through 60 degrees. Wherever you are, at some point, that's going to happen. And so,
well, on a globe, it would appear that you would need like 2 suns in order to make it work. It's a really
No?
there'd have to be multiple suns basically.
I mean, unless you can explain why, I think you're just wrong about that because I watched her argument. I watched her this equilateral argument.
Gotta watch the second part.
It doesn't make any sense. It's
You didn't see
the
the
measurement
second
she does.
part. You gotta watch the second
If you say so, I watched a 20-minute thing on it.
No, I know.
So
that's
I don't
the
think she
first
made this
part.
argument that you're making. This two-sun
That's the
argument.
first part. I'm telling
What?
you.
All right. Well, what's the second part? Where's the second part? You can't articulate it, huh? You know there's a second part. You know it's right, but you have no idea what it is.
I'm forgetting the terms. There's a specific term that I'm forgetting. But yeah.
You can describe around it. You don't have
No,
to
that is the point, though, she makes. Basically, bottom line is there have to be multiple suns. But like I
Why?
said, there's a second part. You should just go watch it and then refresh my memory.
Okay. Well, I think it's questionable that you think it's true, but you can't actually remember how the argument goes.
Well, I think it's questionable that you're commenting on it and yet you haven't watched it. So, yeah, that's
I saw
questionable
the argument
for sure.
I saw the argument. I did the work.
You did
and I
not
saw
see the
oh, yeah, it does
argument.
work.
Again, you
I
said
did.
you
The
saw the
equilateral
argument,
I saw.
but you didn't. There's a second.
Now you're
part.
referencing some second argument that you can't
There's a
remember that you think is
second part.
debunking it. Yeah,
What
but
are
you can't
you
even
missing
articulate what
here?
it is.
Veach, there's a second.
I mean,
part.
let me ask you a question. How would I even find it? Like, you haven't given me, I mean, what would I even look for? It's not
That's
in the
another
video.
interesting point, isn't it? It's hard to find, right? You can't find these things, right?
No, I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking for. Like, you're just saying there's a second part somewhere.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how would I even know what you're talking
Do you need me to find it for you?
about? Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, give me a second.
Yeah, so, like I say, what we're looking for, just to back up those papers, it's got to be an experiment of some kind. Because remember, you guys like to give explanations a lot. And yeah, this is a good place to get a lot of explanations. But people are going to be like, well, okay, if that's true, then
Can
surely...
you point out to me the exact point in where any of those papers go wrong, Chemo?
Well, that's it. Someone's written something down, and then there's no supporting experiment with it.
Again, I'll ask the question again. Can you point out to me where in those papers that they go specifically wrong?
Remember how
Well,
Veach just told Waymer that they're
I came
predisposed?
here. I came here. Hold on. I came here a few weeks ago with Witsit
Question
talking
on the
about Andrew Thomas Young's take on refraction and how all of it was theoretical right there. And I was detailing quite clearly the problem, and no one actually wanted to engage in the premise. So
what is your detailed problem?
well, I said what I said, but you know, at the same time.
Well, look, are we all just supposed to remember your visit 2 or 3 weeks ago and what you said?
I'm just telling him what happened, what occurred. I guess if you don't remember it,
well, either make the point
time
again or shut up. It's just pointless.
All right, fair enough. I'll make it later when I have time. You're right.
Oh, Jim, you're in a bad mood this morning.
So remember when Veach said
no point in him trying to have an argument about something only he knows about.
I was about to make a point, but remember when Veach just now said that? Is my mic coming through? Check.
Yeah, I hear you, Jeremy.
Yeah, we hear you.
Unfortunately,
Remember when Veach just told Chemo or Whammer that they're presupposing a globe Earth, a flat Earth, and the thing he was talking about? That's what all those papers are presupposing wild shit.
Prove it.
A lot of
show me a paper that's
exactly.
Prove it. Show me one. Show me one that we suppose this wild shit.
Let's see a paper. Let's see a paper.
Yeah,
you gotta find me one that does this.
Yeah, bring any paper. We'll show you how it
You're not
presupposes
messing with me.
gravity, presupposes the R value, presupposes everything.
If it's any paper, you'll have no trouble finding one. I'll wait.
I think as well, Chemo, where we were a few minutes ago, was you were saying that people are not going to accept this evidence. Now you guys are here, and I was saying that they will because they can demonstrate these things to themselves.
No. Before, no one has ever said the way we've been saying it, or made it clear. Like before, let's just say, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, someone might have said, oh, the Earth is flat. And you might have said, well, why? And then they would have been able to give, detailed explanations like how we give you today. So today, it's a lot different today. We've got the black swan. We've got the gas pressure next to vacuum. We've got gravity not a force. There's so many little things now that today, like I say, people will not believe.
Well, they're just false things. There's always been false things that most people haven't believed.
No, people have believed them. I believed them. Everyone here, every flat earther
But
believed
most people don't.
No, we all believed the Earth was a ball. Everybody, like I said. And then...
Right, but we don't all believe you can't have gas pressure next to a container. We don't all believe that the black swan is evidence of a flat Earth.
What it does is, what did Mr. Sensible say? At least the minimum we've, taken away the geometry or something. We don't have a radius.
Some people think that, but they're just incorrect.
No, but this is my point, is that the globe now, we've kind of split yous. Once upon a time, you were all pushing in the same direction. Now, some of you think you can see curvature from this height. Like Dr. Bob the other day. My goodness, 8,000 feet, he sees curvature.
Oh yeah, 8,000 feet, that's easy.
Yeah, what's going on here?
That's possible.
No,
I think that's entirely possible.
No,
Yeah, sure.
I have a hostile witness that says you can't. I have a hostile witness that says you. Hold on.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is just wrong.
Not talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson. Thank you very
Well, it
much.
doesn't matter who you're talking about. They're wrong.
I'm sorry, Scott. Why are you being so combative?
I'm telling you, you're wrong. You can see it.
How you gonna say I'm wrong when I haven't even presented?
Who is it then? Let's hear it.
So I'm just wrong, black and white.
If you're going to present someone,
I don't need to present you anything. I don't need to present you anything as long as it's going against what you believe.
So
I mean, I don't. My point is, I don't care if somebody else
zealotry. That sounds like
I don't care if somebody else says that I'm incorrect. That's because I'm not. That's
that sounds like religious.
You have an argument to make. I don't care about
his argument.
No, it isn't. It's just
his argument.
It's not. I just don't care.
His argument is the same as his argument's the same as his last argument, which is I've got a really great argument and I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are always doing this. Like, I could or I would or I did.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm
Man,
not
lay off on
actually.
my boy.
I'm not actually doing that because I actually came in here.
Okay,
and
so
with your
who
whole
is this
server-
person who
I
says
came,
that
I
you're not
came in and can you, if you stop interrupting
You see,
me, right?
we're still not going to get it, are we?
If you would stop interrupting me, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, not what you want me to do,
I want
right?
you to make your argument.
Well, let
Well, I'm
him.
not making an argument. What I said earlier,
in greater
right?
detail than you have so far.
What you just referred to, right, was telling me to do what I was only saying that I actually did only a few weeks ago. I actually came in here and whipped you
No,
guys.
we're talking
the
about
short
your
hair.
new argument, the one you've just said about a guy who says that this isn't possible
Now,
at 8,000
I didn't
feet.
say I had an argument yet again. What I said was I have a hostile witness. that
Okay,
says
so
that
let's
you
hear
can't-
about the hostile witness. Jesus.
We don't have to hear about the
You
hostile
see, it's
witness. What, that he
everything
brushed
he
his
can
teeth this
possibly
morning or
do
what?
to not make his argument because he's scared.
You're a
No,
pussy,
I don't
And
have
if
to.
I play the hostile witness,
But
for you
guess
calm
what?
down.
But guess,
I say the
but guess
hostile
what?
witness he had in mind was Neil deGrasse Tyson.
But guess what?
Because
No, it
Scott
wasn't.
preempted
No,
it.
it
He had to
wasn't.
dump
Number
it.
one. No, it wasn't. Number one. All I have to do is just give you the video of the Aristophanes presentation by the not Neil deGrasse Tyson, who details why mathematically
If only you would.
wouldn't
If
be able
only
to
you
see
would
it
do
from
that.
the ISS.
We're begging
I
you to
will.
do that, Elijah. We're
You're
begging
begging
you.
me to do it? Okay,
Yes,
fair enough.
please do it.
I'll be back.
Oh, right. It's not going to happen now. I've got a really great argument.
Hold on,
but
hold
it's
on, hold
coming
on.
later.
Scott, you want to bet me $10 that I get it?
Coming up after these messages is my
Anybody
great
want
argument.
to? Anybody want to bet me $10 that I get this?
What?
A guy saying,
Not much of a bet, is it?
a guy saying that you can't see curvature from the ISS.
Sure, you can find
I
someone
think you
saying
can
that.
find someone who say that. That's what. It's not very valuable though. That's why I was saying it's not very interesting. that
The
you have
funny
someone who
part
say
is,
that.
the funny part is, right before Bob said you could see curvature at 8,500 feet, Curved was arguing that with Chemo's picture that you shouldn't be able to, and you can't, and you won't see curvature from that high.
Well, what's really ironic about this all is that you guys, no one has stopped to say what does Scott mean by curve? Because curve means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And I say you can see curvature at 2 feet. I say you can see curvature at 10 feet, at 20 feet, at 40 feet. You can see it at any elevation you want, which was my point that I was making. So it's absurd that you guys spend so much time rushing to get some hostile witness without ever figuring out what exactly am I saying.
There's something else that's being missed, and that's Jeremy once again lying about this. And I pointed this out to Jeremy that he is lying. He knows he's lying. Why are you
What am I
persisting
lying?
in this lie, Jeremy?
What am I lying about? That's how it happened. Chemo was presenting that picture of the flat V2 rocket. Then right after that, Bob came in talking about 8,500 feet curve, and nobody said a mumbling word.
Jeremy, when
That's
did
how it
I
happened.
say? When did I say what you can or cannot see?
You were telling us you shouldn't see right when Chemo was presenting his V2 rocket shit.
The only
What?
thing you shouldn't
You're
say
not
is
listening to the question, and you're answering something else. I did not say what you said, Jeremy.
What did you say, Curve? Maybe I misinterpreting it. What did
You
you
missed
what did
the
you say?
whole point of the whole fucking thing.
Okay, what
as
did you
usual.
say? What did you say?
I was talking about the difference between when you're down at basically the same plane as the circle. I was talking about a circle being flat and what makes the difference of how much, but that the circle is curved. And what makes the difference as to how what you can see is how large the circle is and your angle of view to it. That's the short version of it. I never once said you can't see shit from X distance.
It sounded to me like you guys were arguing.
Fucking lying about that.
It sounded to
I
me
told
like
you about Jeremy. I already pulled you up on this. Don't interrupt me to fucking talk over me pulling you
monologuing.
up on
I need to
fucking
respond.
lying about this still.
I'm not lying about it. I need to
You're
respond.
fucking lying your ass off. You just made a false statement. I never said what you said I said, Jeremy.
You're
Fucking
monologuing.
go die, cunt.
Okay, right before that, the whole room was telling
You
Chemo
lying
how they shouldn't
fucking
see
asshole.
Right before that, the whole room was telling Chemo how they shouldn't see curve from that
See
picture.
that right there. That's why I want nothing to do with Stacy.
Stop hating on my family.
So right before that, the whole room was telling Chemo how you shouldn't see curvature from that height. They were arguing against it. You shouldn't see curvature. From
Leave
that
my
height.
name out of it, you lying
Okay.
cunt.
Okay. I could have swore you were the one right in the mix of it telling what.
You don't care anything about me because you're fucking retarded and you're a goddamn liar.
All right, I'm not lying. I could have swore you were the one right in the mix of it.
Just told you though.
Stop it.
You don't know though, so you don't need to keep saying that.
You never get anything right, Jerry. Jeremy, just leave me out of it. Fucking so sick of your shit.
All right. Well, the whole room was arguing against Chemo.
The whole room was not arguing that, Jeremy. The whole room was
These
not
guys
arguing.
will never admit what they've had on video, so there's no reason.
And literally right after
I'm sorry,
that.
Elijah. Were you going to bring that argument that you keep promising?
Yeah, I got it. As soon as I hop off my bike, I'll shove it right up your ass, Scott. How's that?
Look, if you have it, great. You're hardly shoving up anyone's ass. I'll be impressed. I'll be proud of you. I'll be excited that you have it.
It's not an argument. It's a presentation or a guy who says that you can't see it from the ISS even. That's all I said.
Well, he's crazy, but let's take a look at it.
I think I've seen
Hug it out,
this.
boys. Hug it out.
It rings a bell.
This is why I wish Jem kept the recording from this room, because we would be able to go back and see what everyone was saying right before Dr. Bob presented that shit. And now we
Why don't
can.
you just,
Thanks,
Jeremy,
Jem.
just record it yourself if you care.
You could also just assume that if someone says something and then they correct you on it, that they're telling the truth and they have no reason to not try and clarify their point.
I made an issue of this with Jeremy before, and that's what's really pissing me off this time. I've already told him I didn't say that. And he's fucking coming back in at me with this, poking me with this shit Curved even said. Bullshit.
Yeah, like Jeremy, why are you pushing
You're full of
the
shit,
point
bro.
so hard? Curve said he didn't say it. Just believe him.
Whatever. Okay, maybe it was a curve. Curve was right in the mix of it, though. The whole room was telling Chemo how he shouldn't see curve from that height.
No, they were not saying that, Jeremy.
Some people were saying it is curved, but it was a flat line. Some people were saying you shouldn't see curve from that height. All right, you guys are all.
Because a second ago, the whole room was saying one thing, and now you're splitting up into different things.
The whole room's in disorder and disarray.
Jeremy, a second ago, they were all unified in what they were saying.
No.
He still doesn't understand the concept that a circle is flat, but it is
these
curved.
assholes. What are you doing?
Hold on, Stacy.
A
Watch
circle
this.
is curved,
Hold on.
yet it's also flat.
Is Stacy fronting right now?
Watch
I don't know what
this.
Stacey's talking
Watch
about.
this, Stacy. Watch this. All right. Timestamp. Okay. All right. Video. Lecture. There you go. Not Neil deGrasse Tyson, as that guy looks white to me. So, go ahead.
All right.
Watch it.
Boom. Pretty white.
I'm proud of you. Let's see if it says what you say.
Thank you.
God, it's an hour and 38 minutes long.
Yeah, it's
Do you have a timestamp for me?
it's somewhere around that timestamp, because he's saying you can't see it from the plane, you can't see it from the Felix Baumgartner jump, and you can't even see it from the ISS, and how it's misleading what they use.
Then it would take Elijah to try to explain it.
Okay, he could be wrong, but I'm just saying that's what he said.
He's wrong.
We'll
He
see.
has to be.
But as I said before, this is why a hostile witness is hardly interesting, because anyone can say anything, and he is wrong.
Oh. Got to be
No, we're not.
again.
Well, we can't forgive you for continually lying, though.
How do you think? Wrong.
Mm-hmm. Remember when you draw that little circle, pretend it was the globe, that you did the stickman on it, and I asked you, "Is this to scale?" And you said, "Yeah."